Not just coming. Good afternoon. Nice to see you. Holidays, yeah?
Happy holidays, yeah, it's great. Oh, we should have got a bunch of Santa hats or something. We're making dreams come true today. That's right. Oh, we're awake now. I hear us. That my second. Good afternoon. We're almost there. We'll get started in just a minute. Good afternoon. My name is Frank Cardenas. I am the Vice Chair of the California Strategic Growth Council. I will be serving as chair today. I call this meeting of the California Strategic Growth Council to order. Ms. Massey?
So
A roll call?
A roll call. Vice Chair Frank Cardenas.
Here.
Deputy Director Natalie Kuffel.
Here.
Secretary Tamika Moss.
Present.
Secretary Karen Ross.
Moss and Ross, present.
Secretary Kim Johnson,
Present.
Chancellor Juan Sanchez Munoz,
Here, thank you.
Deputy Secretary Sarah Isant,
Present.
Deputy Secretary Noaki Schwartz, I believe is virtual.
Present.
Great. Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Abigail Jackson,
Present.
and Public Member Nicole Capretz.
Here.
All right. And we are present and we have quorum.
Great. With the presence of a quorum, Justine, can you share for all of our benefit our public comment procedures?
Yes. So when it is your turn, excuse me. Thank you, Vice Chair, and thanks to everyone joining us today in person, online, or by phone through the Zoom webinar platform, or where the meeting is being live streamed on SGC's YouTube channel or Cali PA's live webcast. I will provide some information to help guide us all through the processes for this hybrid meeting, which we have designed with the intention of maximizing access by members of the public. For those joining the webinar online via Zoom or by phone, please note that your microphone is automatically muted when you join. In order to minimize the risk of background noise, you will not be able to unmute your phone yourself. For those joining online via Zoom, please note that the webinar platform does not enable video for attendees, so we will not be able to see you. If you need technical assistance during the meeting or have a question about the meeting process, there are a few ways to contact us. If you are using the online Zoom webinar, the best way is by using the Q&A function. Several members of the SGC team are monitoring the Zoom Q&A function to facilitate public access to the council meeting and may remove disruptive or threatening content. If you have joined by phone and you have access to email, please email sgc.info@sgc.ca.gov. If you do not have access to email, you may text or call 916-324-9775. If you plan to make an in-person public comment, you must fill out a comment card provided at the table near the back of the room. Please fill out the public comment card to indicate your name and which item you would like to comment on. Then bring your comment card to the table at the front of the room, the side of the room really, collecting public comment cards. When the chair opens the public comment period for your item, we will read the names of everyone who has submitted a form for that item, and when the names have been read, please line up by the podium, just over here, in the order in which you were called. When it is your turn to speak, I will call your name to the podium. If you plan to make remote public comment, you must be joining the meeting via Zoom, either through your desktop or phone app, or by calling in by phone. To make a public comment, visit sgc.ca.gov/meetings-events/council and complete the public comment form linked there. You will need to complete separate forms for each item on which you wish to speak. You may complete a form at any time prior to the beginning of the public comment period for that item, and there's a general public comment period at the end of the meeting. When the chair opens the public comment period for your item, we will read the names of everyone who has submitted a form for that item. When you hear your name in that list, please raise your hand. To do this online in the Zoom webinar, click Raise Hand under the Participants menu, and you can find that at the bottom of your screen. To raise your hand by phone, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, a member of our team will unmute your microphone. If you are online, you will see a window pop up alerting you that the host is unmuting you. You will need to click the option to approve unmute. After that, you can begin your comment. And if you are on the phone, you will hear a recorded message alerting you that your line is unmuted. Please begin your comment after you hear the recorded message. If you are unable to complete the online form but would like to make a public comment, please email sgc.info@sgc.ca.gov. Each speaker will have a maximum of 2 minutes to make their remarks. A timer will be screen shared. Please monitor the timer and wrap up your remarks accordingly. Whether you are online or on the phone, you will be notified when your time is up. And after that, we will mute your microphone. You do not need to take any additional action once we mute your microphone. Thank you all for your participation and attention, and I will hand it back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Massey. You sure that's it?
Yes, unless you'd like me to elaborate.
Terrific mental recall, Justine. So item number 3 is the approval of our October 2025 meeting. I'll remind members, you don't need to have attended this particular meeting in order to vote on the adoption of these minutes. You may elect to abstain. Momentarily, we'll have an opportunity for council discussion on these minutes and then any public comment. Justine?
No public comments at this time.
Are there any questions or comments from members of the council on these minutes? If not, we'll entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Secretary Moss, Chancellor Munoz, Justine, the vote?
All right, so we'll take a roll call. Vice Chair Cardenas,
Yes.
Deputy Director Kuffel,
Yes.
Secretary Moss,
Yes.
Secretary Ross,
Yes.
Secretary Johnson,
I'll abstain as I was absent.
Chancellor Munoz,
Aye.
Deputy Secretary Isant,
Yes.
and Deputy Secretary Schwartz,
Yes.
Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Jackson,
Yes.
and Public Member Capretz.
Yes.
Great, the motion passes.
Great, thank you very much. I'd now like to invite our esteemed Executive Director, Aaron Curtis, to present item number 4, which is the report of the Executive Director. Following Aaron's presentation, there'll be an opportunity for any council discussion and then any public comment. Ms. Curtis, happy holidays.
Same to you and the rest of the council. Thank you, Vice Chair Cardenas. I am very pleased to be with you today. On December, I've been here a year now, so I'm very excited to have survived. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to bring forward to you today a recap of the exciting activities of the Strategic Growth Council's staff over the last couple of months. We can go to the first slide. The part of my celebratory tone has to do with the fact that we are welcoming quite a few new staff to the Strategic Growth Council. There's several folks up here on the screen. We have Lizette Nzwadigi. Yes, I pronounced that a few times before I got here today. Lizette's our new Senior Program Manager for Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities. Serena Rye, our new Senior Tribal Planner for our Tribal Housing Capacity Building Initiative. We have Karin Rue, Program Manager for the Sustainable Ag Lands Conservation Program, and Kiran Rao, our new Resilient Community Associate Planner for Transformative Climate Communities. And the next slide includes several more new staff. We have Samantha Stewart, a new Resilient Community Associate Planner for our Community Resilience Centers program, as well as Jayla Lundstrom, also a new Resilient Community Associate Planner for the CRCs, as well as Tiffany Rivera, and Natalie McDonald, another Resilient Community Associate Planner for our CRC program. And finally, Stacy Mata is a new student assistant for the CRC program. So quite a few folks new in the CRC program as a result of a couple of promotions of our staff as well. So if any of these folks are here today, I know that some of them are. So if you can just wave, there we go. Very excited to put them straight to work. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So our investments continue to power community growth across California. And across every region, our programs have been delivering real impact over the past couple of months, as well as over the past year, truly. Revitalizing downtowns, building affordable homes, creating resilient infrastructure, and empowering local partnerships that put people at the center of California's climate future. And in the last months of this year, the council surged past a milestone of $5 billion invested in sustainable communities and conservation. So that's a huge milestone for this council and this body. The council's impact is clearly being felt statewide, and I agree. Let's clap for you all for that. Thank you. Next slide. We are, as a part of that, permanently protecting critical ag lands. The SALC program is building climate resilience by protecting our productive farmlands and encouraging compact, transit-oriented communities. At our October meeting in Eureka, you may recall that you approved more than $128 million in Sustainable Ag Lands Conservation Program grants to permanently protect more than 40,000 acres of croplands and rangelands across 24 counties, with more than 11,000 acres being returned to California Native American tribes for cultural and traditional ag uses as well. We have a number of those new SALC grants up here on the screen. You can see that they are throughout California. And once completed, these acquisition investments, just from round 10, will permanently protect tens of thousands of acres and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by an estimated 3.3 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So that's the equivalent of taking about 777,000 vehicles off the road for a year, and is significant. Stay tuned, of course, for later in this council meeting for a continuation of those round 10 awards. So through funding for smart planning and land use, strong partnerships, and community-centered solutions, California is truly supporting and uplifting California families, communities, and the environment. Next slide, please. Moving on to the fact that we have been building thousands of new climate-smart, affordable homes. So the AHSC program is funding affordable housing and transportation projects close to jobs, schools, and other daily destinations, supporting healthier, more sustainable communities. We have a few recent examples up here on the screen. On October 22nd, the program celebrated the grand opening of the Chris Hartmeyer Plaza in Pomona. This is a round 6 project, and it was awarded a total of almost $28 million to build 90 homes, 5 miles of bikeway, and some solar workforce programming as well. The new community is named after the Reverend Chris Hartmeyer, who worked with civil rights and labor leader Cesar Chavez and other early organizers before there was a farm worker union. And in a region where nearly 2/3 of the renters are cost burdened, the new 90-unit community brings affordable homes as well as on-site health services to individuals, families, and veterans. On October 29th, we celebrated a groundbreaking ceremony of the Sakura Project right here in Sacramento. It's a brand new 134-unit, 100% affordable housing project. It's located over on 16th Street. And the ground floor will be retail stores along with on-site programs for residents focused on financial literacy, digital skills, and wellness. And it received about $38 million from the ASIC program. We look forward to going to that ribbon cutting right down the street and hope that you can all come. On October 30th, the ASIC program celebrated a groundbreaking as well as a ribbon cutting for the Sunnydale 3A plus 3B development. That is constructing about 1,770 residential units, which includes 975 affordable units and about 700 market rate units. It also includes some Class 4 bike facilities, an on-street bike facility that includes a vertical physical barrier between the bikeway and moving traffic, making it much safer to travel by bike near this area. It also includes a Class 1 bike path, a crosswalk, a playground, and a monthly unlimited transit pass for 3 years for all of those restricted units. Sunnydale Hope San Francisco is a long-term, multi-phase project that includes the complete rebuilding of the Sunnydale Velasco Housing Authority site. And finally, on November 4th, the AHSC program celebrated the groundbreaking of the Alder Square in San Bernardino. This is a round 8 project. It was awarded $15.8 million to build 91 affordable homes and create nearly 3 miles of new bikeway. And it also includes the purchase of 4 new ZEV transit vehicles. And stay tuned for later in this meeting for round 9 award recommendations. And just a reminder, these developments create homes, jobs, and safer streets, and it demonstrates that sustainability and affordability can go hand in hand here in California. All right, next slide. So our Transformative Climate Communities program celebrated the revamping of a Fresno Plaza, a place of vibrancy, they're calling it. So a historic downtown plaza is being reactivated through SGC's TCC program, about a $3.8 million grant. It's building on the impact of another Fresno TCC project that was recognized by the US EPA as a transformative brownfield redevelopment earlier this year. The Mariposa Plaza Activation Project, it refreshes one of the city's most significant public spaces and links it to the future high-speed rail station while integrating climate-smart design features such as permeable pavement, a rainwater capture pavilion, and shaded seating for community gatherings and public events. The project celebrated its ribbon cutting on December 1st, and it featured a new skating rink that you can see there, so some folks in Fresno can celebrate the holidays. Hopefully it's cold enough for them there to keep that nice and frozen. All right, next slide, please. We'll move on to our tribal capacity building and outreach. Through our Community Assistance for Climate Equity's Tribal Capacity Building Pilot Program, among other initiatives, SGC has been partnering with tribes statewide to strengthen sovereignty and climate readiness. On November 4th, all Tribal Capacity Building Program grantees joined an in-person peer learning session with SGC staff and the technical assistance team on the lands of the Pala Band of Mission Indians. At this event, grantees had the chance to connect, discuss topics as varied as governance, land acquisition, and staffing. It's a really good opportunity for them to learn from each other as well. Those grantees have already embarked on many efforts with support of this capacity building program. In Monterey County, for example, the Esalen tribe is blending cultural burning and native plant propagation to steward ancestral lands. In Redding, the Winnemem-Wintu tribe is building an eco-village and restoring salmon runs, reconnecting community housing and ecological restoration. And in Rancho Cucamonga, we have tribal grantees there strengthening peer learning relationships. Just last week, in fact, the CASE team released new guidance for providing technical assistance to tribes. The new section of the Technical Assistance Toolkit includes background on California's unique historic relationship with tribes, a set of core principles for working with tribes, best practices for developing a tribal-specific technical assistance program, and resources to inform tribal engagement, as well as a tribe-specific glossary. This tribal technical assistance guidance was developed in partnership with tribal liaisons from 3 different state agencies, as well as input from 10 other agencies and tribal serving organizations. And the guidance also uplifts lessons that we've learned through the development of our tribal capacity building pilot program, that program that is providing funding and technical assistance to support tribes in developing long-term capacity to secure funding and implement tribal-led climate solutions. Next slide. All right. Our regional climate collaboratives held a convening recently, November 5th and 6th, and I had the pleasure of attending. It was in Rancho Cucamonga, and it provided support, it included support from the RCC technical assistance team as well. This was an event that brought together grantees in person one last time before their grants end next year in 2026 to share successes and lessons learned through their RCC grant and identify strategies to keep the collaboratives active after their grant term ends. Staff will continue hosting virtual peer learning sessions until the end of the grant term in June of 2026. Next slide. Our staff has continued to visit grantees and partners statewide to connect, support, and gain invaluable input. Just a few more examples of where our staff has been over the last couple of months. Our transformative climate community staff on October 16th, along with staff from the Department of Conservation, traveled to the Chicken Ranch Rancheria, a Round 4 planning grant, to attend a community meeting with residents from the Rancheria tribe and historic Jamestown. Our TCC staff was also on October 22nd through the 24th. They met with program managers for Pact with Paramount, a Round 5 grant, and attended the City Housing Forum on October 23rd. And they also met with Pomona ACTS team, also a Round 5 grant, and attended community events in person. And finally, for TCC, on November 6th in Santa Barbara County, they hosted a site visit with the Cuyama Valley with our SGC staff. Our Community Resilience Center staff has also been out and about over the last several months. On October 7th, The Mattole Restoration Council hosted a site visit for our staff at their Resilience Education and Research Center project site in Petrolia. The site visit included touring their hoped-for CRC facility site, the local community, and local partners that are collaborating with us through a collaborative stakeholder structure. And finally, on November 21st, or rather 24th, CRC staff traveled to Casa Familiar's future La Samia Community Resilience Center site. It's a construction site, and there was a community event there where CRC staff met with the Casa Familiar staff and their partners to receive an update on the construction process, which included showcasing the use of cross-laminated timber. So overall, the Strategic Growth Council staff has visited more than 50 different communities this year, and we're not going to stop there, of course. One more slide. Looking ahead, the Strategic Growth Council is also celebrating 15 years of health in all policies in California. You'll hear more about that later. It's the first state-level initiative of its kind in the United States, or it was, and united over 30 state government departments and agencies to advance health, equity, and environmental sustainability. Again, we'll be celebrating a little bit more, and you'll be hearing more about that later on in this meeting. Our teams have also been very hard at work on guidelines for multiple programs. Draft guidelines for round 3 of our factory-built housing pilot program are up for approval at today's meeting. You'll hear more about that. And we're looking forward to finalizing more guidelines next year. Stay tuned for opportunities to engage. Finally, I just want to thank the communities, our partners, definitely want to thank our staff, and you, our council, for making 2025 a year of meaningful impact for the Strategic Growth Council. And I'm really excited to continue the momentum into next year. That concludes the Executive Director's final report of 2025, and I will hand it back over to Justine for a reminder on public comment.
Great. If members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment card at the front table. To make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meetings-events/council and complete the public comment form. And I will now pass it back to Vice Chair Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Justine and Aaron. What an amazing report. What an amazing year for you and your team and all of the communities that have benefited from your terrific work. Just one comment about the new staff people that we welcome into our embrace. That's a characteristic of a strong organization, that it continues to recruit new talent, which is skilled and caring, and we're continuing to do that clearly under your leadership. So welcome to everyone who has just joined the Strategic Growth Council. We trust you will find a warm and welcoming home here, where you can fulfill your vision of having some real impact in communities that need our help and that need our respect and deserve all of the hard work that you're going to be putting into your efforts. So welcome aboard and congratulations in advance. Now time for any council discussion and public comment with respect to the Executive Director's report.
Vice Chair, just a quick observation. So first of all, fantastic, Aaron, congratulations, you, team, and the new members, terrific. I saw some of you like this. I'm sure that you do this, so let me just place full sort of culpability on at least this one board member. But if in 2026 we could maybe work more effectively in identifying some of these projects in the regions that some of us live in. For example, I probably wouldn't have gone to the one in Rancho Cucamonga, right? But the plaza in Fresno, right? And so we probably get this. I probably get this, and I probably don't see it in all of the emails. But if there were some way to really bring it to our attention, because I will tell you, I think I already texted somebody that photograph of Mayor Dreyer, who I know, and I actually knew the photographer who sits on the regents of Cal State system. That's Diego Rambula. right? And his brother's a rep. So, by sending him, hey, nice photo, I know it's going to get to his brother, state representative. He does wonderful work for Fresno. And but we have to be good ambassadors for SGC and the work that you're doing. And this is me asking for myself. Others may include themselves in the request to try to be a little bit more intentional on my part to be at these things and say, listen, this didn't happen by accident. It happened because of all these fantastic staff people and their meticulousness and their professionalism and their equity mindedness, et cetera. And this is how these funds through this agency are improving the lives of Californians. And so we can't do it to, all the time, but there might be some that we can attend. And when we're there, as part of this dais, it has a different resonance with the people there, and then it allows us to then push it to others that should be even more cognizant of the importance of this work and the things that you and your team are doing.
Thank you, Chancellor. Any other comment? Justine, do we have public comment on the Executive Director's report?
No public comment on this item.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay. We received this, right? And so we received this warmly. We now move on to item number 5. This is also an informational item. It's a particularly special one. Lo and behold, it's already been 15 years for the Health and All Policies program. Kickstarted largely with philanthropic support, and it has really grown and evolved over the years. I want to call up Fabian Perez Cove to give us a report on this and an update and the amazing work that's been done in the last 15 years. And also in advance, commend members of various staffs of various cabinet secretaries who are represented up here in the dais. And if I might particularly thank the hard work of everyone who works under Secretary Johnson. So it's an amazing program. And as Aaron suggested, first in the nation, but not the last. Others are following our lead as they should. Fabian.
Thank you, Vice Chair Cardenas and everyone here at the council today. My name is Fabian Perez Gove, and I'm the Health Equity Program Manager at SGC. Again, thank you for your time today. I will be talking to you all about the Health and All Policies 15-year anniversary, or HIAP, and the SGC program access highlights. So SGC and its programs and initiatives have spent the last few years focusing on increasing access to state funds to communities throughout the state to best serve all Californians. Yes, sorry. Okay. Today, I will highlight efforts and successes from our programs and initiatives in engaging with groups who traditionally have not partnered with the state and who can help us reach all corners of California. I will start with the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program, which approved over $30 million for the Tribal Housing and Capacity Building Initiative. Their outreach efforts reached 1,600 Californians through 45 workshops during their Round 9 guideline development. For the Agricultural Land Equity Program, they engaged over 400 Californians through their task force outreach efforts, which included 12 public meetings, 33 subcommittee meetings, and all the findings from those were being used for their report of recommendations. Next slide. The California 5th Climate Change Assessment and the California Energy Commission supports tribes and tribal entities with $3 million for climate change research projects. This includes the coordination of the Tribal Advisory Group. Their outreach efforts resulted in 46 regional and statewide contracts, which was done through 30 workshops and 50 interagency and expert meetings. The Community Assistance for Climate Equity Program, or CASE, launched the Tribal Capacity Building Pilot Program, which awarded 6 tribes with nearly $1.5 million. And they also awarded $8.5 million to 6 regional climate collaboratives, which received a supplemental $64 million from federal, state, and philanthropic funds. Lastly, CASE launched the Imperial Valley Civic Ecosystem Initiative, along with a newsletter named Imperial Impact Interagency and Partnership Highlights. Next slide. The Community Resilience Centers awarded 4 projects to tribes and tribally led initiatives in 2024, and they and all 24 round one grant recipients either represented or served SB 535 disadvantaged communities or AB 1550 designated low income communities. The Health and Equity Program, or HEP, we are, like mentioned before, we're celebrating our 15th year anniversary for HIAP with a report, commemorative retroactive report and a prospective recommendations report, which I will highlight shortly. Lastly, we facilitated the 2024 and 2025 Workforce Experience Survey with SGC staff and staff from the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, and we will be using those findings for recommendations to leadership for 2026. Next slide. The Sustainable Agriculture Lands Conservation Program, or SALC, their round 10 awards included more than $33 million for 8 fee acquisition projects to tribes that also focused on land conservation, and some of these included advanced payment options. Their outreach efforts included some technical assistance workshops that focused on land access, equity, and tribal grant management. And lastly, the Transformative Climate Communities approved $7.4 million in advance payment to some of their eligible grantees. And one of the focus during their round 4 through 6 guideline development was revisions to increase access for unincorporated and tribal communities in the state. Next slide. To summarize, I'd like to highlight some of our tribal serving initiatives that SGC has taken on. These numbers are from the last round of grants for each program, with SALC seeing increases in 2025. So the main highlight here is a total of $51.45 million went out to tribes or tribal serving institutions throughout 23 different projects, and we received a total of 59 applications. The number that I get excited about is the number of applications that we received. So SGC has been focusing on tribal engagement this year and will continue that commitment going forward so that we can continue to increase some of this momentum. Next slide. So now I will highlight some of our technical assistance, or TA, efforts, specifically with the Community Assistance for Climate Equity Program, or CASE. So they updated their TA toolkit named A Funder's Guide for Building Community Capacity and Resilience. And they also run the Interagency TA and Capacity Building Work Group for state agency staff. Lastly, the Tribal Technical Assistance Appendix was published to support tribes and state agencies in developing effective tribal TA programs. Next slide. So now I would like to start highlighting more about the Health and All Policies Task Force, or HIAP, and our 15th year anniversary. So we decided to include HIAP and SGC programs in the same presentation because HIAP and SGC programs focus on structural and systems change effort for upstream support of the social determinants of health and health equity. HIAP is a perfect example of systems change within government and public health approaches. To celebrate the 15 years of our work, HEP contracted with the State of Equity to develop a commemorative report. In this report, we share the history of the task force, context for its founding, the priorities it has set, best practices to advancing the HIAP approach and lens, and then the HEP and the State of Equity are actually publishing that report this week. So we're very excited to have folks be able to read that, and we'll continue to market it in 2026. Lastly, HIAP is a practical and collaborative approach that helps government make better decisions to improve health, fairness, and the quality of life of all of its residents. Rather than creating new programs, HIAP strengthens our existing work and ensuring decisions reflect shared goals that maximize benefit across all state government. Next slide. Here are some of our major accomplishments over the last 15 years. Number one, we've embedded a HIAP lens that focused on health and equity criteria and over $4 billion in grants that have reached over 400 communities within the state. We helped establish the Healthy Communities Data and Indicators Project with the California Department of Public Health, which focused on increasing access to local data. We advanced the Farm to Fork programs and state food procurement standards to improve nutrition statewide. HIAP also helped create the Capital Collaborative on Race and Equity, or CORE, which has engaged more than 60 agencies and 600 state staff. And lastly, we have shared California's HIAP model globally, which has been recognized by the World Health Organization and many other international networks. Next slide. Here are some things that we kind of learned along the way and want to continue in 2026. So dedicated staff and leadership make all of this collaboration possible and sustainable, and relationships and trust are the base of and foundation of getting those collaborations started. We need to continue to institutionalize our success by increasing the HIAP lens into policies, data, and funding systems. And most importantly, HIAP helps governments pivot effectively and stay adaptable in times of crisis and change. Lastly, HIAP is an incubator for innovation similar to SGC. We test creative approaches that keep government relevant, effective, and most importantly, community focused. Next slide. So to continue this momentum of the previous work and the 15 years report, the Health and Equity Program, or HEP, also contracted with the Equity and Wellness Institute, or EQUI, to expand on our HIAP evaluation that we started earlier this year. And through this evaluation, they're helping us develop future priorities. Most importantly, they developed a preliminary findings and recommendations report, which will guide our work in 2026. And they are helping us with revising and finalizing the HIAP grants and contracts evaluation tool that we have been developing in 2024 and 2025. Part of their process included attending our meetings, reviewing key documents, and researching best practices. And the final report and updated action plans for HIAP will be released next December in 2026. Next slide. This is a quick overview of some of their suggestions and recommendations. So they are suggesting that in terms of structure and evaluation, we redesign and update our HIAP membership structures, including our value proposition. This looks like updating our communications protocols, membership agreements, looking into our decision-making processes, and then utilizing our new HIAP resource hub to share information across agencies. This resource hub we're aiming to launch in Q1 of 2026. In terms of evaluation, we need to continue to make it a cornerstone of our sustainability strategy. So including some feedback mechanisms during and after meetings, and including recruiting some HIAP members that have evaluation backgrounds to join us in a committee to help us with these evaluation efforts to increase staff capacity. Next slide. Lastly, for engagement, they recommend that we continue to create new connection opportunities between members. This looks like new communication and outreach protocols, which can include new monthly newsletters and offering training and peer learning opportunities. The big takeaway here is that the bigger the network is, the bigger HIAP's value grows, because people are in the same room who normally wouldn't be, all with the same mission of better serving all Californians. Next slide. Like Aaron mentioned, we have over 30 state agencies and departments represented. So I just wanted to highlight a few here of who we've been working closely with over the past few years. Next slide. So in preparation for our discussion questions, this slide and the next slide, I'd like to recap some of what we've talked about. So one, our biggest successes is the $4 billion in state grants, reaching over 400 communities with the HIAP lens, which is a holistic approach to health and humans. Establishing the Healthy Communities Data and Indicators Project, helping advance the Farm to Fork programs within the state. Creating a collaborative intersectoral government standard of practice, so literally changing how work is done. And again, that California's HIAP model is globally recognized by the World Health Organization and many other networks. Next slide. So during our evaluation earlier this year, one of our big questions to our members and partners was, what do you want us to focus on in 2026 and beyond? The top 4 were language access, which ensures all external communications are accessible, clear, transparent for all readers and audiences. Tribal and community engagement also came up many times, which ensures the state is involving, collaborating, and consulting with tribes and California communities to directly hear from them on what their needs are, what their ideas are, and their expertise. Our contracts and grant access work was recommended that we continue that. So increasing access to state contracts and grant opportunities for tribes, communities, and small businesses by streamlining our practices and protocols. And then lastly, data access and sovereignty. So increasing data and information, the quality of the data, what the best practices are, and engaging with communities and tribes on ensuring that they drive the use of their data and ownership. Next slide. Again, thank you all for your time. This concludes the end of my presentation. I would now like to pass it back to Vice Chair Cardenas for the discussion. Thank you.
Fabian, thanks very much. This report and the report that is associated with it, submitted by the State of Equity from the Public Health Institute, is the culmination of years of dreaming, largely from folks in the public health space who have long understood that there are real determinants of health which are social, which are all around us. And this grew up at the same time, Secretary Johnson, the SB 375 around 2008, around the same time the SGC enabling legislation came into being. There was a growing understanding that there are linkages in our fabric of society which lead to health implications and our overall quality of life. That's why SB 375 linked land use planning, transportation, and housing with greenhouse gas reduction. And then you mirror that with the executive order that begat your project. And here we have this amazing report that health metrics are embedded into the work that these cabinets and their departments are doing, including, importantly, in grant guidelines and grant application review processes. That is bringing home the vision of, can we possibly administer programs and invest dollars in communities with the lens of what are the various things in our neighborhoods and in our societies and communities that contribute positively or negatively to our public health. So it's an amazing culmination of a lot of years of work. And thank you and Michael and everybody else who's been working on this. Colleagues, any comments on this program? Secretary Johnson?
Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you so much for that report. And Vice Chair, you just said that beautifully. I'll just pile on an appreciation for this phenomenal achievement. I mean, I just can't underscore 15 years in about 15 minutes. So great job. But I just want to help, particularly the public and communities, understand how transformational this effort has been. I also want to not only thank the staff and those who have been part of this process, but especially lift up the leadership of the California Department of Public Health along the way, to the Vice Chair's point of really looking at social determinants of health, which again has been embedded across, I can speak for Cal HHS and its 12 departments, in the way we do business. And I have had the great privilege in my former capacity at the Department of Social Services to participate with this work, both with CORE and some of the work that we've done looking at our staffing and leadership across state government. It is the way we do business now, and it was right on time then, and it's even more relevant today as we are faced with a misalignment on many of these fronts with the federal government. So I'm just tremendously appreciative that we have had the leadership to focus in on the space, how we're addressing disparities and disproportionalities across communities across the state with intention, and very good. Just glad to see what you had there on the slide in terms of members' feedback of continued focus on, for example, language access, continued engagement with tribes, and really understanding what it means to respect and adhere to tribal sovereignty. But when we talk about, when we talk about meetings, we're talking about shared power and decision-making in government. And I am just grateful that the level of which we engage community and as an expectation of how we set policy, how we design programs, really truly is embedded in such a different way 15 years later. So glad to be part of that effort. And again, appreciate everyone's leadership along the way. To your questions, I think look forward to continued dialogue and engagement on where we go next and what, again, we learned from the journey to date. I do think some of the areas that, again, the members have referenced are very relevant as we continue. And of course, we still have disparities to address as it relates to health climate, and how, again, we're taking that on holistically across departments and agencies, because people don't live in silos. So just, again, appreciate the focus of this work, and it just really is tremendous. So thank you across the board.
Thank you, Secretary. Secretary Ross.
So thank you for those comments. I too really want to commend this work because it's built a lot of trust doing cross-agency. We've done that more and more every year. And I've been here a long time, folks. You can tell by my age. But going into my 16th year, every year we see more cross-agency, and the complexity of the issues demands it for the best possible outcomes. I feel there's several things that have come out of this work, as well as the Strategic Growth Council and the creation of things like transformative climate communities, is going to community and being with community and helping to be a convener of community. And I know this is outside of our wheelhouse, but I'm going to throw out some issues for rural California that I think are especially critical. Bringing voices to the table that haven't always been heard. And I use Jobs First as a really good example, but I think that built on some of the transformative climate communities and thinking about, with all the transitions that we're doing, making sure we don't leave anybody behind. And I think this marries very well with that, the kinds of jobs that we want to train people for. There's still a lot more outreach to do in that. But even this morning in the Ezra Klein podcast that I listened to, the governor referred to Jobs First. And I'm glad he did, because I think that's a wonderful legacy that will really make a difference going forward. And so the equity, the health, all of those issues. An area that is especially contentious and very timely is what's happening with land use in the valley because of water scarcity and the implementation of SGMA. And we've learned how many voices were not at the traditional water tables and some of the early development of that. And I think the expertise that's been developed here of bringing people together could be helpful for some communities more than others. But this is going to be transformative, and it could be in a positive or a negative way. And it's really calling out the nexus of food production, healthy food production, and the water and energy nexus. And there's a lot of big decisions of where we're going to send everything, and it's going to displace a lot of people. And I would love to have additional thinking on community benefits, which would be about health and equity. When we lose a lot of farmland, we lose a lot of service providers and small businesses that are providing the inputs as well as the value added, and making sure that as we look and locals make their land use decisions, that there's a better sense of what the community benefits will be from those and the trade-offs that need to be considered as part of that. I know that's a big stretch outside of our wheelhouse, but it is land use, it is climate, it is jobs, it is equity. So thanks for indulging me on that. But I really, you've got great models here, and there's so many more ways that we can really expand this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. And may I add thank you for your years of shepherding, your leadership in shepherding, helping to shepherd health and all policies. Thank you.
And I forgot, local resilient food systems has to be at the top of our list. 60% of our farms are less than 50 acres. Yeah.
Colleagues, any other, Secretary Moss?
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just wanting to add my voice to the choir in congratulations on 15 years. It does strike me as the social determinants of health are really foundational for how all of our departments and agencies actually come together. We spend so much of our time in our silos around what we do differently from each other, but in fact, this work binds us together in ways that are really powerful for community. I think Secretary Johnson said it, people don't live their lives in isolation, and so it's really important for us to take that overarching view of how we're considering the health and wellness of our communities writ large. And so I'm just really impressed with the work that's been done. And, you know, certainly at BCSH, it's how I think about our work. Housing is everybody's job, and it is foundational to how everyone needs to live in California. And so whether it's our transportation partners, our health partners, our climate partners, that intersectional work is critical. So really excited for that work to continue. I am curious, as you think about the priorities for, what is the acronym, Chow? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. For health and all policies, how do we consider deepening our impact even in budget constrained environments? I often think that there are times when resources are scarce where it allows us to focus on efficiencies of our work together, deepening some of those relationships across our departments and agencies. So that feels like an opportunity to me in terms of 2026 in ways that I would like our departments to engage. So just curious about that, and maybe you have an answer or not. But that's something I'm thinking about in terms of priorities in response to your questions. And then lastly, just we are really under assault in our values around staying committed to our health and equity policies and making sure that there's redundancy and resilience in that commitment over time, particularly from the threats from the federal government. And so I I really am excited about how do we not shy away from the commitments that we've made over the last 15 years and figure out how to embed those impacts over the next 15, right? How do we, maybe it's jobs first, maybe there are other strategic structural changes that have been made by the work that's been happening together through these members that will allow us to continue this work beyond this administration.
Yes, thank you, Secretary Moss. I actually would like to respond with a quote that's thrown around a lot in our space, which is, "We are stronger together than we are alone." So I think pointing out that there are some budget constraints, like I think that really rings true right now with the quote, where if we really come together, pull those resources that we do have, we can really best serve everyone in California by really pulling in what little everyone does have. And some of the work that we're going to be doing in the team as well is kind of doing one-on-one engagement with a lot of our members next year to kind of learn about where are your strengths, where maybe my cuts are, so that we're all in. Again, the big strength here is we're all in the same room when we normally aren't. So again, the quote, "Stronger together than we are alone."
Thank you, Secretary Moss. Deputy Secretary, sorry.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Well, thank you so much for the presentation, and really it's a big congratulations on this 15 years of running a very successful program. I think my remarks have somewhat already been touched on by some of the others, but want to say, first of all, I think that the understanding where we are with the federal landscape being what it is, I think that this really underscores the importance of this work being done in California, and having the opportunity to think about holistically about how we continue our work on diversity and equity and inclusion, and having that embedded into the work that we're doing, and many of all of our agencies really are doing on a daily basis. And I think the priorities that you identify, that you heard of, sort of those emerging things, very much resonate with Cal EPA and the work that we do and are trying to prioritize. And I think just with Uplift, that continued emphasis on community engagement and reaching people who don't normally have opportunities of interacting with the state, or who might not be represented by community-based organizations or other advocacy groups, and really trying to reach individuals and get to continuing to build out that robust community engagement, I think is something that we are very supportive of. So Cal EPA looks forward to continued collaboration with you over the coming year on this, and identifying how we can continue to strengthen collaboration with SGC and with all of the other members of the work doing health and all policies. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary.
And Vice Chair, Deputy Secretary Schwartz has a hand raised online.
Oh, apologies.
As long as you're okay with it, we'll unmute. Yeah.
Thank you. I just, want to echo what my colleagues on the dais have said. Really just, this is why I am so thrilled to be part of California and the work that we're doing. And, when I think back, I was watching this presentation and just sort of reflecting on when I started working on environmental justice and equity efforts, which was about 9 years ago at state government. And, at that time, we weren't really talking about it quite in the way that we are now, and now it's clear that, this work is just really kind of embedded at every level. And I feel like we're all sort of speaking the same language, and sort of really thinking very, very carefully, about how we can really make sure that we are creating a California for all. And I'm just this is a really wonderful way to end the year. And really, I firmly believe that we'll be continuing this work into the next administration. So just congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. Other comments? Ms. Massey, will you remind us yet again of public comment for this particular item, if there's any?
Yes. So if members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment card at the front table. And to make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meetings-events/council and complete the public comment form. And we do have 2 public comments requested in person. So I can begin there if council is finished with discussion.
Any other comments, colleagues? Public comment.
All right, so Julia Kaplan with the State of Equity and Meredith Lee at Green Landing Institute. If you could both come to the podium and then in that order, please. And Matt, you'll unmute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Julia Kaplan. I had the pleasure of chairing the task force for about 10 years and supporting it this whole way through. And writing this report was like a dream project for me. Actually, it's been one of the most joyous experiences I've had in this very difficult time to reflect and connect with so many people. I want to give a couple of shout outs, actually, appreciations to Secretary Ross for being a champion from the beginning, and Secretary Johnson and Secretary Schwartz for your leadership and CORE in particular. If you only read one part of the report, I hope you will read the lessons learned section because it is very interesting and the knowledge in there comes from a lot of people in state service. Really, I think what we're celebrating today is public servants. And there are thousands of you and people that work for you who came to public service because of their care for community and their care for social justice. And what Health and All Policies has done, in large part, is created a space for those folks to come forward, show their passion, and find each other, and get organized to really be able to make that a reality. And so really, we're celebrating them. I concur Health and All Policies is all about centering community, and I think there are many, there are great opportunities to do that in even deeper ways as this work moves forward. And I just want to note for the future, I hope that this work that the task force and Health and All Policies can be helpful in preparing for the gubernatorial transition and deeply embedding this work for the long term. There are also opportunities to support the new racial equity framework, and CORE continues to offer cohorts, so the planning and preparedness intensive cohort that can help with that. And the last thing is a call to you all in your leadership roles. Your staff need to hear from you that you give them the green light for this work. It may seem obvious, but in my experience, so many people they're scared and they don't know, and they need to hear it over and over and over again. And so I hope you will continue to voice your vision and really encourage your departments and staff to continue their great work. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Meredith Lee.
Good afternoon. It's so good to be here in front of you, council members. It's good to see many of you after some years. My name is Meredith Lee. I'm with the Green Landing Institute. And I'm actually coming in front of you today as the first Health and All Policies staff person to be hired at the state back in 2013. I had the great pleasure this morning of joining the Health and All Policies Task Force team at their team meetings. And I just want to I'm going to get emotional. It is emotional. This is amazing work. And I am so appreciative to the staff that have in the past, previous staff, current staff, but also I just want to raise appreciation for the council. You all have been the enabling force for the Health and All Policies Task Force, for the work, and continue to elevate and give a platform for the voice of staff and community to move this work forward. And I'm appreciative, and I'm just excited for the next 15 years of Health and All Policies. And I look forward to continuing to champion and be a cheerleader for Health and All Policies now on the outside of state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes public comment for this item.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Kaplan, we are indebted to you. Thank you for your work. Fabian, gracias. Terrific. Thank you very much. Now moving on to item number 6, which is the consent calendar. Our consent calendar is designed for routine and non-controversial business. I will now turn it over to our Executive Director, Erin.
Thank you, Vice Chair Cardenas, and I will be happy to turn the mic over to Amar to walk you through just a brief overview of this item.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're talking about our consent item for the Transformative Climate Communities Proposition 4 regulations, and this is pertaining to Round 5. As a reminder, in December of 2023, our council made an award recommendation for 4 projects for the Transformative Climate Communities implementation during the Round 5. Initially, our teams had proposed and planned out for 3 of these large projects, but because of the transformative nature that we saw coming in on that application round, anticipating that state funding would be reduced in the coming year, and the opportunity for federal funds that were coming through that would align with this program, our teams recommended to the council to award 4 instead of 3, ultimately reducing 4 of these applicants down by about $7+ million. So where we're at today, we saw a reduction in federal funds, some of which are Transformative Climate Communities Round 5 implementation awardees were successful in. In that space, we're continuing to look at opportunities, but for now, we're recognizing and re-recognizing the important structure of transformative projects that came through and seeing the strength of the original scope of those projects. We're here to recommend that council adopt a staff report that consists of the emergency regulations for Proposition 4 usage that we can submit to the Office of Administrative Law, that would also delegate to the SGC chair, our executive director, and our chief deputy director to make any necessary changes to the OAL process as we move forward through this opportunity with Proposition 4.
So as a reminder for public comment, if members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment card at the front table. And to make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meetings-events/council and complete the public comment form. I'll pass it back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Unless the council member would like to discuss this consent item, we will have any public comment now and then take any motions to approve the consent item afterwards. Public comment, Justine?
Yes. So in person, we have Horacio Gonzalez with the City of Coachella.
Council and Vice Chair Cardenas, just want to say thank you and appreciate the opportunity to comment before you today. The City of Coachella is incredibly appreciative of the partnership of the council in both selecting us on initially, but also in staff's proposal to fully fund the project that was before you. This investment will allow us to really fully realize the benefits of Coachella Prospera, which was the project that you funded, inclusive of housing, mobility, public health, and overall increased economic opportunities in our city. We are a disadvantaged community, and we thank you for selecting us and really urge you to approve this item today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have 10 comments remotely. So first is Amy Castaneda. I believe our team is unmuting her.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amy Castañeda, and I am the Associate Director with the Environmental Health Coalition. I am here in strong support for item 6. For decades, EHC has worked in some of San Diego's most overpolluted communities, including Barrio Logan, City Heights, and National City. In 2019, we received a TCC planning grant that allowed us to conduct robust community engagement and reaffirm what residents have been saying for years, is that they want clean air, more affordable housing, and safe, healthy neighborhoods. In 2022, we partnered with San Diego Foundation and several community organizations to apply for a TCC implementation grant. In 2023, SDF applied for $29.5 million and was actually awarded $22 million. The decision to award 4 TCC grants instead of 3 created a $7 million gap across round 5 grantees. To help fund this, to fill this gap, SGC encouraged SDF to pursue federal EPA community change grant funding, which resulted in a $20 million award in November 2024. Unfortunately, those EPA funds were frozen almost immediately, and the grant was ultimately terminated on May 1st. Without this funding, critical projects are at risk. Every day, semi trucks cut through our neighborhoods, and incompatible land uses continue to impact our community's health. Our communities rank within the 90th percentile for poor air quality. Our youth experience some of the highest asthma rates in the state, and our elders live shorter lives simply because of where they live. We cannot allow decades of community-driven planning to fall apart. We cannot continue asking residents to live in polluted, under-resourced neighborhoods while they wait for long-promised investments. This is why I'm urging SGC to please use Prop 4 funds to protect these projects. Our communities have waited long enough for clean air, healthy homes, and safe environments. Lastly, I want to express my deep appreciation to SGC and DOC staff for working closely with EHC, SDF, and our partners to navigate the funding uncertainty and for being strong, dedicated partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Christiana De Benedict.
Good afternoon. My name is Christiana De Benedict, Senior Director of Environmental Initiatives at San Diego Foundation. I urge the Strategic Growth Council to allocate Prop 4 funding to TCC Round 5 grantees. As San Diego's Regional Community Foundation, we have proudly served San Diego County for 50 years, and SDF believes in just, equitable, and resilient communities. We believe that all San Diegans should have the opportunity to prosper, thrive, and feel like they belong. In 2022, our partner Environmental Health Coalition sought our support. We took on the lead applicant role for our TCC Round 5 grant in San Diego, rooted in Comunidad, Cultivating Equity. When Round 5 awards were reduced to help more communities, we followed SGC's recommendation to seek EPA funding to supplement our TCC grant. As lead grantee for both grants, SDF invested thousands of staff hours, hundreds of thousands of dollars of our own funds to secure and implement these 2 companion grants. Unfortunately, our $20 million EPA grant was frozen shortly after it began and was eventually terminated on May 1st. Instead of launching transformational projects, we've spent the past year managing the fallout from the unprecedented loss of $20 million in federal funds. And meanwhile, we've supported our community partners who are facing extreme financial hardship. The TCC program staff have provided tremendous support and guidance to us throughout this tumultuous year. We would like to thank them for all of their efforts. However, without additional TCC funding, many of our projects will be scaled back or stopped entirely, as they were designed to be funded by both EPA and TCC grants. The additional Prop 4 funding can change that. Your support today can ensure a climate resilient future for some of our most vulnerable San Diego communities, investment that creates healthier homes and healthier neighborhoods. We respectfully ask the Strategic Growth Council to allocate Prop 4 funding to TCC Round 5 grantees so that neighborhoods can receive the support they need to help them thrive. Thank you for your leadership and consideration.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Yadira Perez. And if you're calling in from your phone, it's *9 to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, members of the California Strategic Growth Council. My name is Yadira Perez, and I am a council member representing the city of Coachella. I just want to express my sincere appreciation to you for supporting the work that is known as Coachella Prospera in the city of Coachella. The $7.375 million will indeed help us to fulfill the original vision that our community helped us create, and now TCC is helping us bring life to. Coachella Prospera encompasses prosperity for all. The project area being served is where the vast majority of disadvantaged residents live and where climate adaptation investments are needed the most. The TCC funds will help deliver affordable housing for our seniors, a wellness hub, urban greening, zero emissions, transportation, workforce training, and develop new bike lanes, sidewalks, and enhanced green spaces, as well as solar panel installations and other transformative plans. That includes anti-displacement and community engagement. In brief, I just want to thank you on behalf of our residents for bringing our combined award. And again, thank you and God bless for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Selena Jimenez. And as a reminder, if you're unmuting your phone, you'll need to press *9.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, members of the Strategic Growth Council and SGC staff. My name is Selena Jimenez, and I am the Director of Economic Development for the City of Coachella. I am also the staff member entrusted with overseeing the implementation of Coachella Prospera in the City of Coachella. I just want to respectfully ask you guys to consider supporting this funding request today. This would really mean the world to our community, being that we're highly disadvantaged and also very prone to high heat days and all these other adverse climate issues. And I also want to give props to the staff. We've truly appreciated working closely with the most incredible staff members at SGC and the Department of Conservation, namely Amar Sid, Nicole Cartwright, Sarah Newsham, Brendan Pipkin, and Melinda Kelly. We are looking forward to continuing our work with them in implementing Coachella Prospera. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Alexander Earl.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Council, Strategic Growth Council. My name is Alex Earl, Development Manager for Chelsea Investment Corporation, and we're a partner to the Coachella Prospera TCC project. And Chelsea is responsible for the senior housing component of Coachella Prospera. I just wanted to call in and say how extremely grateful we are for the relationship and support from Strategic Growth Council, and kindly ask that you please approve this item to restore the TCC grant to the full amount requested prior to the reduced award. This will truly allow Coachella to fully benefit from the TCC program as was intended at time of grant application. That's all I got. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jason Cater.
Good afternoon, members of the Strategic Growth Council Board. My name is Jason Cater. I serve as the Economic and Community Development Manager for the City of Bakersfield. And on behalf of the City of Bakersfield and our 17 partners with the Southeast Strong Initiative, I want to express our support today for the recommendation for Prop 4 funding to backfill the 4 awardees of the Transformative Climate Communities program in round 5. I think similar to some of the stories we've heard already, our journey with this program began in 2019 with a planning grant and really helped us to build a cohesive, equity-focused, community-led vision for what making transformative investments in one of the state and particularly in Bakersfield's most disinvested communities of Southeast Bakersfield, and really coming together to make transformative change through this partnership. Southeast Bakersfield, like many of the communities that you've heard from today, is one of the most disinvested parts of our state. Many of the census tracts that make our region up score in the 98th to 100th percentile on the Calen-Byer 4.0. This program will bring much needed investments in affordable senior housing, will bring urban greening, connected biking and walking network through the community, much needed solar installation and home rehab and weatherization access for homeowners, and other wraparound services to really help lift the quality of life for those residents. We really want to thank the staff for the recommendation today. We also want to kind of echo the comments that you've heard earlier and really just acknowledge the Strategic Growth Council and your staff for the partnership. We, like many of the grantees before you, were part of the Connecting Communities program that came right after the recommendations. We were awarded with EPA Community Change Grant programs, and as we heard from our San Diego counterparts, that award was almost immediately halted with the shift in federal administration, and then on May 1st was ultimately subject to termination. Yet we've seen this steadfastness with the collaboration and support of your staff and also that of the Department of Conservation, and ask you that you continue to support this work so that we can continue to invest with our community partners in transforming our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jennifer Prado.
Hello, everybody, and thank you to SGC. My name is Jennifer Prado. I am the Coachella Valley Site Director for the Urban Conservation Corps program of the Southern California Mountains Foundation. We are a partner in the Coachella Prospera initiative that was funded with the TCC grant as in partnership with Alex and Selena and the rest of the Coachella Prospera community. And I want to say thank you so much for all of the consideration and time that went into the initial grant for the TCC program. And we do appreciate that the council wanted to make 4 awards instead of 3. But as you're well aware, that did create a little bit of problem in terms of trying to scale back our initial plans for what was going to happen in the community. I can say proudly that we have made great progress in Coachella Prospera. I have seen the engagement and the community over the past actually several years as we've been applying for these funds, and it is absolutely heartwarming to be in the meetings and have the community and to see the benefits starting to roll in. And I would just encourage you to please approve the item on the agenda today so that we can amplify those benefits and bring fruition to the original vision of Coachella Prospera. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Joel Hernandez.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Excuse me. Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Good afternoon to everyone in attendance. My name is Joe Hernandez, and on behalf of Alianza Coachella Valley and our Coachella Prospera team, we would like to extend our gratitude to the Strategic Growth Council for the consideration of the additional funding to be awarded to the City of Coachella for our Coachella Prospera initiative. The impact this award will have, and it's already benefiting the City of Coachella and its residents, and has been noticed and more than anything appreciated by our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Denise Delgado, the Vice Mayor of the City of Coachella. And as a reminder, if you're calling in by phone, it's *9 to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is Denise Delgado, the Vice Mayor for the City of Coachella. Please accept my sincerest apology for not being there in attendance. We do have a council meeting today, which is our last of this year. I'm truly grateful for the consideration from SGC of receiving the original request of the TCC grant awarded in December of 2023. The success of the application submitted is a reflection of the hard work of our city staff, Selena Jimenez, our Econ Director, our 12 partners, most who flew in from the Coachella Valley and were present to make the TCC grant meeting in December. The TCC grant Coachella Prospera makes or addresses the real issues facing Coachella disadvantaged families. This directly increases their quality of life. One of the items under Coachella Prospera that I'm very excited about is our senior housing, our very first senior housing within the city of Coachella, which is scheduled to break ground next year, as well as the transportation this provides our seniors for 5 years. More projects include urban greening, active transportation, solar panel installations, a wellness center, zero emission ride share programs, workforce and training development programs, This allows us to continue with the programs that were scaled back. Coachella is a very special city, and we're fortunate to have residents who are so engaged and attend our community engagement events that provide the direction needed to make this happen. A big thank you to SGC and their commitment to communities like Coachella, as well as this board. Thank you for giving me the time and opportunity to speak on behalf of our Coachella residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last comment on this item is TJ De Castro.
Yeah, thank you. My name is TJ DeCastro Cox, Program Administrator for the Latino Equity, Advocacy, and Policy of the LEAP Institute. I want to thank SGC, its staff, and administration for considering additional funding to support the Coachella Prospera project. We're very, very grateful for SGC's continued confidence in the city of Coachella and for its commitment to advancing equity, clean mobility, and opportunity in California's most underserved communities. The additional investment will directly strengthen LEAP's Green Terrace program and our broader clean mobility partnerships across the Coachella Valley. The Green Terrace program provides reliable, zero-emission transportation for farm workers, seniors, students, medically fragile residents, and other community members who face some of the most persistent mobility barriers in the state. It also expands local workforce opportunities in EV operations, dispatch, and clean energy technology, creating jobs that stay in disadvantaged communities. We appreciate SGC's collaborative spirit and the expertise of its staff who have supported this project from planning through implementation. The additional funding will have a measurable, immediate, and long-term impact on the families and the communities we all serve. We look forward to continuing our partnership with SGC to deliver meaningful climate, health, and economic benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll pass it back to you, Vice Chair, for any action on this item.
Justine, thanks very much. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I second.
Motion and second. Justine, roll call.
Great.
Can we ask a question before we take the?
You can extend discussion as much as you'd like.
Please, Chancellor.
Yeah, Amar, just so I'm clear, so round 5, you awarded the 117 million. They were short the 29.4. The proposal is to, given limited federal funding, to add the original 30 million-ish to these 4, and there'll still be 100 million in the program for round 6.
Correct. So the recommendation right now is a staff report that gives us the authority to submit what the Transformative Climate Communities Round 5
It would be
motion
required
is.
in order to award them the additional funds, which is equal to their additional request.
Correct. It's not the additional requests. It would be pertinent to the original request that was developed per our round 5 guidelines. So we ultimately reduced their award by about 7+ million. So it would be back up to the original request.
Yeah, that's what you're asking for, the authority to restore the reduced amount, which comes out to just over 29
It's about
million.
$29 million.
But in round 6, right?
We're still anticipating about $100 million for round 6.
Great. So with that clarification, I'll move to roll call vote, if that's appropriate.
Please.
Looks like it. Okay. Vice Chair Cardenas?
Yes.
Deputy Director Kuffel?
Yes.
Secretary Moss?
Aye.
Secretary Ross?
Aye.
Secretary Johnson?
Aye.
Chancellor Munoz?
Aye.
Deputy Secretary Isant?
Aye.
Deputy Secretary Schwartz?
Yes.
Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Jackson?
Aye.
And Public Member Capretz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Terrific. And thank you. And we all.
Chair, can I just make an observation? Just very quick. Hey, Mark, look at the geography of the state, from the inland, from the Imperial Coachella, right, up to, all the way down to the border, San Diego, and then Coachella, kind of, Palm Springs, right? And then up to, Pomona, San Diego, Coachella, Pomona, and all the way up to Bakersfield. I mean, that's a lot of coverage, right? And, some of these towns, like Coachella, for example, often overlooked. So, I mean, again, you never have enough. You try to distribute it as, fair-mindedly as possible. And you seem to have done that. So just terrific.
Thank you, Chancellor. Point very well taken. Congratulations to our staff for finding an innovative way to deal with this adversity. Proving again that California necessarily, but triumphantly, we are the face of resilience. Thank you, guys. If there's nothing else, now we're going to take up item number 7, which is an action item. This is to approve the factory-built housing regional pilot program guidelines. And so we invite Sean Kennedy, Deputy Director of Energy Investments, to present this item and this update. Thank you, Sean.
Great. Thank you, Vice Chair, and good afternoon, council members. Great to be here. Really excited to be ending 2025 by presenting the revised round 3 guidelines for the factory-built housing program. This really has been quite an undertaking, taking almost 12 months for this redesign effort. And I did want to just take a quick moment to thank the staff that have made this possible. Our former Civic Spark Fellow, Kenneth Davis, who joins us in the back today, Jin Zhang, our new program manager who joins us online, and Alex Schweitzer-Kroll, our current Civic Spark Fellow, all of whom have been really instrumental in this redesign. So thank you. Next slide, please. So just a quick overview of factory-built housing as a definition presented on the screen there. Essentially, factory-built housing is a factory-constructed version of site-built residential building that's manufactured in a factory, as the name suggests, then transported to its permanent installation location. So not a mobile home, but also known as off-site or industrialized construction. The analogy I like is thinking about building housing the way that we build cars. You don't get wheels and axles and a chassis dropped at your house. You get a car that you can use. And this is similar, as we can see in the images there. Many potential benefits of this approach to housing: faster construction timelines, building at scale, lower construction costs, lower carbon footprint, benefits in the context of disaster recovery as well. But I think key point on this slide is that word potential. That we could see this, but currently we're not seeing the extent of these benefits realized in California for some reasons that I'll outline today. But what we really need and what this program is trying to do is give the sector a nudge so that we can make this happen. And we really, this has been expressed by council before, but see benefits that apply across council, thinking of student housing, disaster recovery, farm worker housing, addressing homelessness and affordability. So really an exciting, and climate benefits as well. So really exciting opportunities here. Next slide, please. So back in October of 2023, this council passed a resolution to support energy-efficient factory-built housing to meet the state's housing, climate, and equity goals. The focus of this initial effort was to support the construction of new factories in California, giant factories, $100 million factories that would really increase the supply of manufactured housing across the state. That then led to the launch of the initial iteration of this program, the Factory-Built Housing Pre-Development Pilot Program in June of 2024, which provided $12 million for factory-built housing manufacturing facilities that at the time were actively seeking and eligible for funding that was available from the U.S. Department of Energy's Loan Programs Office. Next slide, please. So we ran 2 rounds of this program in late 2024, early 2025, only received 1 applicant through that period and did not make an award. So that then prompted us to go back to the drawing board to think about what is happening with this program, why are we not seeing the success that we would like to see. And a lot of what we heard, a lot of the potential applicants did not have the offtake necessary to repay loans they would have been receiving for the federal government. We have a huge housing demand in California, but it's not organized in a way that they could then say to a lender, hey, here's how much stuff I'm going to be able to sell to repay my loan. We're also looking, as I said, $100 million factories. They do not exist in California and do not look like they're going to exist in California anytime soon. So we're going too far in terms of what we were looking for, which then drastically reduced the size of the applicant pool and explained, I think, what we saw in the program.
Hey, Sean, what do you mean too far, not likely to see them. 100 million is not enough, it's too much.
Too much. 100 million is too much. We see factories in the range of 20 to 30 million. Typically, they can
So why
pencil
not
with.
four?
Sorry?
You have 100 million, why not 4 factories at 25 million?
You could, yeah. That's possible. But a single factory that is a $100 million factory was just, the economics didn't make any sense.
Okay.
So, next slide, please. So with that in mind, we undertook a broad landscape assessment to understand, what is really happening in the factory-built housing sector across California. And we conducted a public request for information, webinars, direct engagement with participant stakeholders, and a literature review. And through that, identified a number of barriers that go beyond just a lack of supply. We saw a lack of standardized building codes across local jurisdictions, zoning problems, misaligned financing timelines. There are distinct ways in which factory-built housing operates different from traditional site-built housing when you are accessing finance. Challenges with the distance from factories to job sites, which can eat up some of the potential cost savings that we would see. And also generally a negative perception of factory-built housing as somehow being inferior in quality to more traditional stick-built construction and therefore low market acceptance. So all of these things combined were really eroding some of those potential time and cost benefits that I outlined on the first slide, and then at the same time limiting the ability of the factories that do exist to deploy at scale and remain economically viable. Next slide, please. We also identified a number of opportunities that exist both on the demand side as well as a supply side, but addressing those requires more than as we had initially proposed of supporting large factories that would just increase supply, and that we really need a multi-pronged approach that combines education, technical assistance for local governments and others operating in the space, pilot projects to demonstrate the feasibility and return on investment, and most importantly, I believe, is coordination across different actors across the sector, local and regional governments, but also connecting manufacturers with general contractors, with developers, with land use agencies, in order to bring all these opportunities together in a more coordinated way. Next slide, please. So with that in mind, round 3, as I said at the start, does represent some significant changes from the prior 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds, as I noted earlier, were they did restrict funding to the pre-development costs for factories that were eligible for and pursuing federal funding. In April, this council passed a resolution that relaxed those requirements and allowed for greater flexibility in the program design, which we have taken advantage of in this effort. So round 3 really focuses on building regional capacity for production and deployment of factory-built housing at scale, at the regional scale, rather than solely on factories themselves, looking at the whole ecosystem through a more holistic lens. So we have now, with that in mind, developed 2 grant tracks, the Catalyst grants and planning grants for round 3 that I'll now explain in more detail. Next slide, please. So our overall objective here, you're trying to think through, again, at the regional scale, is to ultimately support a sustained increase in housing supply at the regional scale, leveraging the potential benefits of factory-built housing. This still is a very, very, very small grant program in the grand scheme of things, with a total budget of $12 million. So what we're looking at here is how can we use that small funding pool to really create a pathway to sustained increase in housing supply at the regional scale. So that has prompted us to think less in terms of direct investment into single projects, of which $12 million would be eaten up really quickly, to how do we set the enabling conditions in place to support that increase over time. And doing so by back to building regional networks and capacity, that coordination piece that I mentioned before, but also keeping our general policy goals in mind to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to the extent that we can, delivering co-benefits. I think key thing to note there is the workforce component, that factory-built housing is often opposed and viewed as taking away jobs. We really see it as an opportunity to add additional jobs that we're not seeing in the housing and manufacturing space already. and to foster innovation. We can be building housing not in the way that we were 100 years ago, but there is a really many exciting paths forward that can, as I said, serve many different housing and climate needs across the state. Next slide, please. So we have two grants. One is the Catalyst Grant. This is a smaller of the two grants with a maximum award of $500,000, really designed to help early stage initiatives. So this could be local and regional entities who are exploring factory-built housing for the first time, who are excited about some of the potential benefits, but not really sure where to begin, or that lack the partnerships that could enable them to bring this forward. So this is that just initial, relatively small amount of upfront capital that can start that process and be catalytic, as the name suggests. The planning grants to support existing initiatives to move from that early planning stage into implementation. So this may be instances where a region has already identified the barriers that exist across multiple local jurisdictions that are preventing greater deployment of factory-built housing, to then use these funds to go and address those, to make changes to their permitting and codes and zoning and whatever it may be, that we can get some more standardization in a region that enables a factory to deliver at scale. The Catalyst Grant over 2 years, Planning Grant over 3 years. As I said, Catalyst Grant maximum award of $500,000, Planning Grant maximum award of $3 million. Next slide, please. Some examples of eligible activities which are outlined in the guidelines that are available for your consideration. Catalyst Grant, things like conducting market feasibility studies, some of that initial coalition building that I mentioned, or conducting research on regulatory and other barriers to factory-built housing. So again, early stage thinking about how factory-built housing could move forward. Planning grants, on the other hand, actually going forward and amending local and regional policies, creating financing tools and incentives. We've tried to be as flexible as we can with this program in if there are entities out there that want to put some of those funds into specific projects to, as I said, demonstrate proof of concept to pilots, they're able to do that. So we've tried to incorporate as much flexibility. Again, we want to see housing at the end of the day in this program, and that's trying to add sufficient flexibility in there to allow for that. And also something like developing pre-approved designs to really accelerate that approval process and get units on the ground as quickly as possible. Next slide, please. So a quick overview of our timeline. December 2025 is where we are today, presenting the guidelines for your approval. Pending approval, will release a notice of funding availability early in 2026, then looking to make first awards middle of next year. With that, one more slide. So the recommended action is to approve the Factory-Built Housing Regional Pilot Program Round 3 guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. I'll ask Justine to remind us again of public comment procedures for this.
Thank you. If members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment form at the front table. To make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meeting-events/council and complete the public comment form. I'll pass it back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Justine. Members, are there any? Secretary Moss.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Sean, for the presentation. This is just third time's a charm. I feel like these guidelines reflect such incredible priorities that really align with where we are and how we're going to ultimately get to our housing goals. As I think about the statewide housing plan and our audacious goal to secure 2.5 million homes, we have to be much more creative about housing types and making sure that factory-built housing can proceed in communities throughout California is part of our responsibility. And so I'm just grateful for the staff's guidance on this, and your work with bringing stakeholders, BCSH folks, HCD folks, industry folks to really understand what those barriers are. I'm really pleased with the direction of the grant categories. I think it actually does induce opportunities for factory-built housing to move forward. I had a chance to go to Stanislaus County, where there's some really amazing work. They are building a factory in Stanislaus, and seeing that ecosystem that you described at the regional level is in fact the way that I think we can get to scale around this work. And then lastly, just to say this really aligns, I think, with the governor's priorities as well as the legislature, and really understanding how do we remove as many barriers as possible for the industry to participate in this housing type. So this is the way that we do that, and we invite folks to come into the space. So thank you very much for your work on this.
Thank you, Secretary Moss. Yes, Deputy Director, Deputy Secretary.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Well, thank you, Sean, very much for the presentation. Thank you for all of the work that you have done on factory-built housing and getting to this point. Really appreciate the commitment to finding something that we hope will work and will, in fact, be the charm this time. I want to thank you very much for the collaboration that you have done with the Air Resources Board throughout this process, and with Cal EPA specifically. We, really do see the huge potential and value, right, of factory-built housing in California, and the ability for the connection of housing and our climate goals is something that this council has talked about many a time, and so we are very glad to see this moving forward, and seeing the hope of how factory-built housing can really support our climate goals using the energy efficient construction techniques and materials, reducing construction waste, meeting the highest standards in energy efficiency, and building decarbonization, and lowering vehicle miles traveled. So there's a lot that we hope that this will deliver for California. So thank you very much for the work.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary Izant. Any other comments or questions? Sean, anything else? That's terrific. Thank you. Chancellor.
Sean, I tell you, I hope that we are going to be sort of, again, get it, people are going to submit. And, I think the idea of the pilot, you should be very dynamic in your thinking. Look, I'm in the space of higher ed, right? Colleges and universities are located across the entirety of the state. Certainly, four-year schools have housing stock. Most would claim they don't have sufficient. So what happens is they impact the affordability and availability of housing adjacent, right? Institutions of higher education could be interesting pilot locations. You put more students on campus, there were less students renting 7 to 2-bedroom house. Across the campus. Many schools have land, which would mitigate the cost. Many have a consciousness of environmental stewardship, which would be in line with our values. And so I just would ask, and they're located, back to my earlier point, all the way from San Diego to Coachella to Bakersfield to the north of, and so they might be interesting locations to think about. Again, how do you inculcate a different perception of the viability of this new product? Put it part of the life and education of young people before they become professionals, right? If they stay in a factory-built home in college and they go, this is terrific, and it's thoughtful about the environment, which is something I believe in, then they'll be much more amenable to maybe take out that first mortgage to buy one. And so just something, for you to think about. That's it.
Great. That's a great point. Justine, is there public comment on this?
Yes, we have one in-person comment and one online. So we'll start with Lois Kim.
Looks familiar. We had a Lois Kim Ms. Kim.
Okay, I don't need to press it. Okay, I'll start. Hi, Council. I'm Lois Kim, and I'm with Mutual Housing California, a nonprofit affordable housing developer, property manager, and resident services provider in the greater Sacramento region. We are the first affordable housing developer in California to commit a pipeline of over 5 projects to zero net energy factory-built housing, totaling over 560 units in 5 different jurisdictions in the greater Sacramento region. We will partner with the same GC, architect, and factory, allowing us to scale innovation and best practices. We will reach at least 40% time reduction and 10% hard cost reduction. We're excited about the potential of this program and applaud SGC for how they pivoted from round 1 to prioritize regional development. But we have not experienced permitting and jurisdictional problems in our 5 areas. Instead, we need direct project support to realize the benefits of factory-built housing. Wide adoption of factory-built housing is a problem of consistent demand, not just local policy, and this program can do both. The pass-through funding mechanism, which was first introduced in the final guidelines, adds redundancy. It is challenging to find organizations that are capable and willing to develop new financing mechanisms. It will decrease impact, particularly when a pilot program is an opportunity to streamline processes. We hope that the Council will reconsider this approach and directly fund both demonstration projects to advance regional policy and deployment in a time and cost-effective manner. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Nicholas Gray. Are we able to unmute? If you are calling in by a phone, it's *9 to unmute. Are we unmuted on our end? Can I get confirmation? Yes. Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you guys.
Great, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Nicholas Gray. I'm the founder of Nicholas James Lee Gray LLC, and we've been thinking about certain aspects of the housing struggle here in California, especially in fire devastated areas. I'm just thinking outside the box with 3D concrete printed homes that'll retain some type of value even in another devastation, you know. It's just a thought to put on the board, that's all.
Thank you. I believe we do have one more online comment that just came in. Let me make sure. All right, we'll hear next from Catherine Paredes. And it's *9 to unmute if you are calling in.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Catherine Perez. I'm from New Economics for Women. I'm the Chief Development Officer. We're based out of LA, and we have been working in Altadena in the recovery effort. And we just finished an amazing program called the UCLA City Lab AU Showcase, and it had phenomenal impact. We had over 2,000 people come and join us and walk through ADUs, under prefab, factory building, and it will be part of the solution to getting people back to their homes and also reintroducing rental product into Altadena. As I know a number of the commissioners are familiar with Altadena, there was a lot of naturally and affordable housing in Altadena, which we lost and is impacting our seniors, our low income, our veterans. And so, attributes are absolutely welcome in LA County and certainly in Altadena. So thank you to Sean and the entire team for really listening to us and what we need to have as part of our solution to housing in LA. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Kim, welcome home. Is there a motion and a second to approve the Factory-Built Housing Regional Pilot Program Round 3 guidelines?
Vice Chair, before we take a motion, I just wanted to ask if Sean could clarify whether or not the production uses could be an eligible use under these guidelines. If we could have staff speak to that, that would be helpful.
Sure. So we are not providing direct funding for construction. We're providing funding for pre-development up to construction, but the pass-through funds that I mentioned can be used for construction. So it's just the responsibility of the grantee then to be administering them in a way that could ultimately lead to the construction of housing. So that's where we've tried to, understanding this is a short-term pilot program, that it's not feasible from an administrative standpoint to then, if we get into construction, it really would extend the grant terms and end up chewing a lot of our costs up on the administrative side of things. So that's why we have gone in that direction, but still trying to allow for that, but putting the responsibility of administering that on the grantees who can then do that.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Just to follow up, Sean, what do you, I mean, what is your degree of confidence on the uptake of applicants? I mean, do you anticipate, you said earlier there were very few that in the 100 million, right? I mean, what do you think? You think we're going to be surprised by the volume? Is this a small niche?
I can say with 100% certainty that we'll have more applicants than we had previously.
Okay, Sean, I walked into that one. Thank you.
You good? All right. Motion and a second on this?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Justine, roll call?
All right. Vice Chair Cardenas,
Yes.
Deputy Director Kuffel,
Yes.
Secretary Moss,
Aye.
Secretary Ross,
Yes.
Secretary Johnson,
Aye.
Chancellor Munoz,
Aye.
Deputy Secretary Exant.
Yes, it's Izant.
Thank you. Izant, apologies. Deputy Secretary Schwartz,
Yes.
Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Jackson,
Yes.
and Public Member Kupretz.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Sean, thank you for your innovation and your perseverance on this. Appreciate it. Now we will take up item number 8. Is that right? Am I following this correctly? Are we on 8 already? Item number 8, this is also an action item. This is a continuation of the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Round 10 Awards that were initially presented at the October 8 council meeting with a focus on approving staff recommendations for Round 10 capacity grants. To accomplish this, we'll invite Amar Sid, and is it Corinne Rue? Sorry.
Hi,
Close?
thank you. We have Karen coming
Karen,
right now.
otherwise known as Karen. Okay. Karen, welcome. Thanks.
All right, so we have a couple more items and it's exciting because this is also award season. So let's end this year with a bang. We have the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Capacity Round 10. This is closing out what we started in October, and I have my colleague here, Karen, that's gonna take us through the staff recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you. How's that? Okay. Thank you. Yes, I'm Karen Rue with our SULC program. So just for a quick look at our timeline over the development of Round 10, as a reminder, at SGC's direction, staff took time in 2024 to develop a policy on tribal notification and refine its process for tribal engagement. Following that work, the council released the final guidelines in October of 2024. Due to the high number of acquisition applications received this year, at its October 2025 meeting, SGC approved staff's recommendation to continue the capacity awards to December. And this presentation will cover the capacity grant recommendations. Next slide, please. There are 3 eligible project types available through SULC: planning, land use planning, conservation acquisitions, and capacity and project development. Today, we'll be focusing on capacity building grants, which help organizations that are interested in applying for an acquisition grant to develop the policies and organizational structures needed to hold conservation easements and purchase land for conservation purposes. and to develop projects for submission to the acquisition side of the program in future rounds. These also are relatively small grants for the scale of impact they'll have. There are 2 available funding tiers. Tier 1 is a grant of up to $100,000. These grants are available to applicants to build organizational and financial capacity to develop agricultural conservation acquisition projects. And then Tier 2 is for grants of up to $250,000. These grants are available to applicants to expand existing organizational capacity to develop conservation acquisition projects and develop agricultural acquisition projects. The grants are available to applicants who can demonstrate that they have the organizational and fiscal capacity to complete the work outlined in their work plan. Next slide, please. This year, we received 20 capacity applications totaling $3,043,520, spanning between 14 Tier 1 applications and 6 Tier 2 applications. With Executive Director approval, once Tier 1 applicants have fulfilled the work plan requirements that put them on the eligibility level as Tier 2, they have the ability to request up to an additional $150,000 for their grant term and graduate to Tier 2 work. Tier 2 work is typically to facilitate eligible project development work if they meet specific capacity objectives outlined in the Round 10 guidelines during their grant term. Next slide, please. Of the 20 capacity applications received, we are recommending 14, totaling $2,051,490 in funding based on their scores. Of the 14 projects, 9 are for Tier 1 and 5 are for Tier 2. 6 applications were received from tribes or tribal nonprofits, of which we're recommending 4 for funding. CCIT is a tribal serving nonprofit. That's the Central Coast Indigenous Tribes organization. And then on to our next slide, please. Finally, I would like to spotlight one of the capacity grants proposed for award. This is for a Tier 1 grant to the Sierra Resource Conservation District. The goal of the project is to acquire and conserve agricultural land to create demonstration sites for conservation practices and water-wise land stewardship while increasing land access for historically underserved farmers and tribal communities. Project activities to achieve this goal include exploring partnerships with land seekers who intend to implement soil and water conservation practices, such as farmers, farmer groups, tribes, and nonprofits. Also to build internal capacity to apply for bulk acquisition funding and secure protected agricultural lands. And then third, transferring the protected land to land seekers. These activities will lead to the creation of a Buy, Protect, Sell land access program for Fresno County. Next slide, please. To date, from the 39 capacity grants that have been awarded, 60 acquisition projects have been developed for bulk acquisition applications. Of those developed, 46 have been awarded acquisition funding, including 33 that were awarded just in this round 10, all to protect approximately 41,837 acres. We're very excited about that success. Next slide, please. And so that brings me to our staff recommendation. The proposed action before you today is to approve SALC staff's recommendations for the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Program Round 10 awards, which is $2,051,490 in capacity and project development grants.
We'll pass it back to Justine.
Great. So actually to the vice chair, sorry, let me give the reminder for public comment.
I can do it. Thank you, Amon. Thank you. Gracias. And Karen, thank you very much. Do you come to us from New York State? Did I read that correctly?
Yes, New York State. And my family and I moved here 4 years ago. We live in the city of Fresno and are loving our new home. And but yes, my background is in land conservation in New York. I worked for land trusts and also the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets doing similar work. And then I worked for a resource conservation district here in California, and I've been with the department for a little over a year and a half.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Justine, will you remind us of public comment just in case the rules have changed?
Yes, just in case. So if members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment card at the front table. To make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meeting-events/council and complete the public comment form. Back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on this amazing item? Secretary Roth, I know this is.
I'm all for it. I'm just ready to vote.
It's a beautiful thing. Any other comments? All right, entertain a motion in a second to approve the.
We do need public comment first, though.
Oh. Is there public comment?
There is.
Joy.
So we've got 2 in-person comments and so far 4 remote comments. So first we'll hear from Mark Drew.
Hi there and good afternoon, council members. My name is Mark Drew. I'm from the Eastern Sierra Land Trust, and I wanted to come over here personally to thank you and your staff for the consideration of our proposal and those of others that are in this portfolio. Eastern Sierra Land Trust is turning 25 next year. We have service area in Inyo, Mono, and Alpine counties, in one of the more spectacular, no bias places, I think, in the universe. The proposal that we submitted will enable us to continue building a pipeline, enable us to engage and work with landowners throughout our service area. It will allow our staff to help drive forward the implementation of the pipeline to acquisition stage, as well as developing new projects in the area, and will help us offset critical expenses necessary for the due diligence work that needs to get done. So I would encourage you and thank you for your consideration. And I think maybe one final point would be, I've been in the business of conservation a long time, and I think partnerships are extraordinarily important. And partnerships between the land trust and landowners are fundamental to our work, but partnerships with the likes of the agencies that we are working with here and that have been put forth in this recommendation are incredibly important. And my view of partnerships is there's a conservation supply chain and critical links need to come together. And this is an opportunity for us to work together through the support that you all may be able to provide, and us to take that support and implement it into actions to preserve lands for nature and people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Jade Stevens.
I'm not even that tall. I just wanted to adjust. Good afternoon. My name is Jade Stevens. I am the co-founder and executive director of the 40 Acre Conservation League. I am really pleased to introduce the California's first Black-led conservancy today. Our mission is to create an outdoors for all by increasing the participation of underrepresented communities in nature by creating more culturally relevant and welcoming spaces so that they can build their appreciation for the outdoors while also supporting those who are also doing the work. That includes meeting people where they are, creating more opportunities for them to experience nature for themselves, and that has guided our vision to successfully acquire 676 acres here in California. As my colleague shared, we hope that you will support all of the proposals brought today. The funding that, if approved, would be provided to us would strengthen internal operations and also support future agricultural land acquisitions. The work obviously is increasingly urgent because across California, I know we're seeing that our farming workforce is aging, the average farmer is nearing retirement, and fewer young people are considering this as a real opportunity. And so they need access to resources that will allow them to enter the industry. That includes land, resources, training, and capital. And without intentional pathways today, we risk losing both agricultural productivity and cultural knowledge that sustains our current food systems. Supporting us today, we have the opportunity to acquire land that will deliver a multiplied return, protecting agricultural landscapes while also expanding opportunities for new and beginning farmers. Our vision is to include programming, developing programming that will support emerging farmers, farm workers who aspire to become farmers, and those who are seeking land tenure. We aim to provide access, training, advisory services that will increase the likelihood of long-term success in this space. So thank you for considering all of our proposals, and we look forward to the opportunity to partner with you all to make sure that this is successful for us all in California. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to our remote commenters, starting with Christina Souza.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that. Christina Souza with Shasta Land Trust. On behalf of our staff, board of directors, and local community, we want to thank the Strategic Growth Council and the Department of Conservation for recommending and awarding our Round 10 Salt Capacity Grant. We also give thanks to DOC and especially the grant managers we've collaborated with over the years. They tirelessly work alongside us and provide the guidance that helps make program dollars so successful. Shasta Land Trust received its first capacity award in 2019 through the DOC's Working Lands and Riparian Corridors program, and a second capacity grant in 2022 through the SALT 9 Round 9 program. With an original staff of only 2, these dollars not only allowed us to hire and maintain 2 new staff positions and conserve nearly 10,000 additional acres, but the increased capacity provided relief of overburdened staff. Because of that, existing staff were able to accomplish our first mitigation project, complete a new climate-focused strategic plan, host 2 interns, and fundraise the most donations received to date. Our conservation success has grown exponentially. We've conserved more acreage and formed deeper bonds with our landowners with each of these grants. With SALC Round 10 capacity funding, we are thrilled to continue protecting vital working lands and create meaningful partnerships with the Pitt River Tribe and local stakeholders to develop new projects. Capacity funding has been invaluable for Shasta Land Trust and the communities we serve. We hope to see these opportunities and steps toward equitable acquisitions continue in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Selena Rowan.
Hello, my name is Selena Rowan. I'd like to say thank you to the Strategic Growth Council for your time and consideration today. On behalf of Trinidad Rancheria, I want to express our gratitude to the SGC and SALC for their ongoing efforts to serve tribal communities. Today, we are especially grateful to SALC staff for recommending funding for our capacity and project development proposal. This investment would meaningfully accelerate our efforts to conserve and steward the tribe's ancestral lands. Thank you to Fawn Shear of Helianth Partners for providing technical assistance in preparing this proposal. And thank you to the SGC Tribal Capacity Building Program team for their ongoing support for our climate resiliency program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Carol or Corel Reader.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am here representing CCIT, or Central Coast Indigenous Tribes, a tribal serving nonprofit. I am a consultant for them and an advocate. Our chairperson had to work today and couldn't take time off, but I will give you a brief bit that she sent that she wanted me to express for her. She wanted to say thank you for this huge blessing. CCIT is very grateful for this help, and they will make a positive change for our community and for agriculture. I'll tell you a little bit about CCIT. They're a smaller tribe of about 200 enrolled persons. They have been self-funded for their entire existence. They have had a dream of owning or having management over a piece of land for at least a generation, but there just hasn't been an opportunity to do that in the area where we are, which is the Central Coast. Having this capacity grant is a dream come true for them to be able to start their own land trust and then possibly be eligible for other grants to acquire agricultural land for their people and a base for their tribe where they can preserve their cultural history is beyond a wonderful thing, and we are so appreciative. I'd also like to say a kind word for our friends at Helianth who helped guide us through the grant application process. They made it so much easier for us to put something together, and we are just so grateful.
Thank you. I believe the other commenter we had is no longer online. Let me just double check here. Yes, so that means that we have concluded public comment for this item.
Thank you, Justine. Now, is there a motion and a second to approve the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Round 10 Capacity Grant
Just too anxious.
Awards? What?
May I move, please? Mr.
Oh,
Vice
please, I wish you would.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Justine, roll call.
Vice Chair Cardenas?
Yes.
Deputy Director Kuffel?
Yes.
Secretary Moss?
Aye.
Secretary Ross?
Yes.
Secretary Johnson?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. Chancellor Munoz? Deputy Secretary Izant?
Yes.
Thank you. Deputy Secretary Schwartz?
An enthusiastic yes.
All right. And Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Jackson?
Yes.
And Public Member Capretz?
Yes. And special shout out to the San Diego Food System Alliance.
Great. And with that, the motion passes.
Terrific. Thank you very much. I believe that concludes our business for today. Is that right?
Nope.
What?
And there's more.
Are there, no, really? Are there folks in the audience who want us to continue? Are we? We have not dispensed with the dispensations. Let's now move up to item number 9 in keeping with the season. This is a profoundly actionable item to approve staff recommendation relating to the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Round 9 Awards. We welcome back Amar Sid, and also we meet Lisette Anzuategui. Is the accent on the Anzuategui?
Anzuategui, right? But you say it again. You say it again. Anzuategui.
Anzuategui.
Thank you.
Is that right? Cool. Oh, great. I will rest on your laurels. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So this is our last action for the council meeting today, and it is for our collaborative program to SALC, which we just heard, and again, extending into our awards for AHSC or ASIC or Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities Program. And we do have our new program manager here who's going to be taking the lead on our presentation.
Good afternoon, council members and all in attendance. So I'm going to be talking about our recommendation for Round 9 award. As a reminder, and as Aaron shared at the beginning, the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program builds healthier communities and projects, protects the environment by increasing the supply of affordable places to live near job stores, transit, and key locations. Next slide. So SGC is the administrating agency of this program in coordination with the California Department of Housing and Community Development, along with the California Air Resources Board. We also coordinate with an interagency advisory committee during the guidelines development and during policy updates. We have a subset of technical assistance providers that focus on capacity and application support with priorities for disadvantaged and tribal communities. Next slide. This is our timeline. So the round 9 NOFA included Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund auction proceeds and was released on March 25th, 2025, and applications were due a few months later on May 28th, 2025. The round 9 NOFA was approximately 775 million. This is the second largest NOFA for this program to date. We also typically add funds on top of the NOFA from disencumbered funds from previous project awards that become available. For round 9, that's over 60 million. Next slide. As a reminder of our statutory requirements and goals of the program when it was created, under the Implement Division 44, Part 1 of the Public Resources Code, Section 75200, AHSC was created to reduce air pollution, improve conditions in disadvantaged communities, increase mobility options, improve transportation, and preserve and develop affordable housing for lower income households. Our statutory requirements for funding award include 50% of available funds for affordable housing, as well as 50% of available funds to disadvantaged communities, or what we call DACs, per SB 535 and AB 1550, as defined by the Cal Environmental Screening, a tool administered by the Office of Environmental Health, Hazard, and Assessment. And over the years, we have also added program goals and increased our program goals, and these include 80% for project area types, which are defined as transit-oriented development, integrated connectivity projects, and rural innovation project areas. Additionally, we have a goal of awarding at least 50 million to tribal entities, as well as geographic funding targets, one project per region. Next slide. This round, we had 46 applicants with a total funding request of 1.7 billion. Our AHSC is recommending award to 21 of those projects for a total of 835 million. Note that some funding requests were reduced due to ineligible costs identified during the project review. 16 projects passed to create a compliant recommendation award list. So as you can see on the slide, we met all goals except for tribal. With numerous set-asides and priorities, it can complicate achieving them all, but we did have many remarkable projects that enabled us to prioritize those that align with our goals. When we were identifying the list of awards, we prioritized the projects using the set-asides in the order as they appear in the slide, which matches Section 108 of our Round 9 guidelines. So just to give an example of how that works in practice, if a project is recommended for award based on being a rural project, but that project can also meet the regional target in lieu of a higher scoring project in that region, this policy was created specifically to ensure that projects are awarded based solely on score and, if necessary, the set-aside without allowing for flexibility, discretion, or preference from the reviewers. Next slide. So as mentioned in the previous slide, existing law requires that AHSC maintains a programmatic goal of expending 50% towards projects that benefit disadvantaged communities or DACs. In previous rounds, this number has been relatively easy to achieve with scoring projects. However, in round 9, only 45% of the requested funds were located in a DAC. So in order to achieve the goal, we had to prioritize DACs. This is the second time that this has happened, where we do this prioritization over higher scoring projects, and the previous instance was last round, round 8. So this was due, again, in round 9. This occurred because we had a lower portion of applicants from DACs. In round 8, and something to note is that our technical assistance efforts have and will continue to focus efforts on projects that are located in DACs and tribal applicants. I also noted that we did not meet the stated goal for tribal applicants, and this was due to 3 key challenges. Difficulty solidifying partnerships with local transportation agency before application deadlines. Tribal council did not want to commit to a loan and preferred a grant only. Since the project was not seeking low-income housing tax credits, a loan was not necessary from their view. Limited capacity to complete the application continues to be a huge challenge, and in being able to authorize decisions during the application period due to tribal staffing. We continue to do robust outreach, but note that the robust outreach and technical assistance is still not enough for most tribal applicants. There are larger systemic barriers in place, many that are unfortunately outside of AHSC's control. Tribal staff experience and capacity for applying for state funds is extremely limited. Tribal applicants have only been able to apply for state housing funds in the past few years and are having to play catch up. We also continue to meet with advocates and tribal leaders to identify their own barriers and see how to address them. We are strategizing our efforts to increase tribal and DAC applicants. Some of the things that we want to continue doing is extending community engagement and listening sessions, increase prioritization within the technical assistance, guideline updates, and applicant changes. We also want to propose, for example, potentially separating out AHSC, the tribal housing program has been part of the discussions. Next slide. As with all rounds and all state programs, it's the responsibility of the awarding agency to review all components of each project to ensure they are meeting eligibility requirements and serving the goals of the program. For AHSC, we've identified issues that required the reduction of requested scope and funds on 11 out of the 46 projects that were scored. These included factors such as context sensitivity related to bikeways, incorrect calculations of distances of bikeways and sidewalks, bus shelters that were already in existence instead of pending construction, anti-displacement and program work plans lacking specificity or requesting funds for ineligible costs. There were a significant number of these reductions compared to previous years, which is important to note, but ongoing review processes such as this help ensure that the projects we are funding meet the direct and meaningful benefits requirements, are implementable, and actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Next slide. Okay, this is the more exciting moment. These are the 21 projects that we're recommending for award. I know it's a lot probably hard to read, but I just want to show the magnitude of impact in this recommended award list. And I want, as a note, and as we have done in all previous rounds, we want to acknowledge and honor the interconnectedness of each component of these really complex projects and the hard work of applicants to undertake and build partnerships. As such, AHSC does not award partial funds for projects. Next slide. So again, the proposal is 835 million. What does that number mean in real life? 21 projects across 17 jurisdictions, 2,516 new rent-restricted homes will be constructed, 30 new zero-emission transit vehicles, about 50 miles of bikeways built, 20 miles of new and repaired accessible walkways, as well as 150 new bus shelters, and a total reduction of about 900,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide greenhouse gases through green building and transportation improvements. Next slide. I can't sit here and talk about all 21 of the wonderful projects that we're proposing, or I'll get the mic cut. But I wanted to at least talk about and highlight 3, and try to showcase how innovative and cutting edge and impactful these projects are. The first one, 1939 Market in San Francisco, integrates a continuum of care model ranging from traditional senior housing to high acuity supportive housing, allowing residents to age in place with dignity. Key partners include Open House that would provide on-site services, Mission Hiring Hall, which would provide workforce development, and the San Francisco Community Land Trust that would support anti-displacement. These components position 1939 Market as a national model for equity-focused, climate-adaptive, and service-enriched senior housing. Next slide. I also want to highlight 4th and Walnut in San Joaquin Valley. This is in Arvin, which is a very small rural community, and unfortunately has some of the poorest air quality in the state. The project features a Si Se Puede Learning Center, which would provide free education and workforce programming, a community garden, and shaded recreation spaces designed to promote health and resilience in a neighborhood that has no history of holistic development. The transportation improvements include 2 miles of new bikeways, 4,500 linear feet of upgraded sidewalks, and a new transit route connecting residents to Tejon Casino, a critical employer for low-income workers in the region. Next slide. Lastly, I wanted to highlight 1401 Imperial Apartments in San Diego. This is in the heart and center of San Diego, being just 0.2 miles away from the primal multimodal transit hub. 25% of the units are reserved for individuals and families at risk of homelessness and will be supported by on-site services provided by SVDP villages and job training through Kitchens for Good. Next slide. Again, I want to recommend that Council approves these 21 projects, which represent a huge investment in housing and sustainable transportation across the state. Thanks so much for your time.
So as a reminder for public comment, if members of the public would like to comment on this item, please submit a public comment card at the front table. To make virtual public comment, please visit sgc.ca.gov/meeting-events/council and complete the public comment form. Back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Justine. So, Lisette, no sooner do you arrive here at the Strategic Growth Council, but you inherit this amazing portfolio of gifts. Colleagues, no shortage of comments, I trust. Maybe I'm wrong. No shortage of comments, I trust.
I can kick us off.
Deputy Secretary Eisner.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you very much, Lisette, for the presentation and for the work of all of SGC on these very exciting awards. Really glad to be able to be here in support of this program today. So want to thank you all for the presentation and really for the collaborative interagency process. The projects before us today are really key to helping the state meet its carbon neutrality targets, and by 2045. We know that these types of projects, in addition to providing really critical housing for Californians, help us to meet our climate goals in many ways. And so I think I don't need to repeat for everyone of just why these projects are so important, but just to say that we are very supportive of these and excited to see them moving forward, hopefully. And I want to say that on the tribal piece, that we really do appreciate all of the work that SGC is doing to try to increase tribal capacity for this program. Given the unique challenges that tribes face with this capacity, and clearly, as we've seen, not being able to get applications in, it really is imperative that we as a state continue to alleviate barriers and provide tailored support to tribes and tribal communities in accessing state funding. So really look forward to hearing updates from staff on their critical tribal housing capacity building work over the coming months. So I'll close there just with a thank you again to SGC and the entire HSC team for continuing to ensure that this program advances our housing, equity, and climate goals.
Thank you. Secretary Johnson.
I'll pile on there in appreciation for the work that's been done here, and do also want to appreciate in your presentation how you shared the considerations in totality, very comprehensive, that were put forward in evaluating, and again recognize that the need is greater than what we are able to award at the present. So acknowledging that there are likely some really phenomenal candidates and other projects that would be worthy, but again, where resources are limited. On the tribal component, again, and appreciate that you outlined a few of the reasons why we don't think we received an application. I just want to also offer that if there are particular ways in which tribes have identified they need more facilitation from state partners on those local connections, please let us know what more we might be able to do proactively to support those engagements going forward. But again, I would say it's actually worth the slide that demonstrated the totality of the impact of these projects. I feel is worthy to put back on the screen. Pretty amazing in terms of what will be accomplished here, and just really want to also appreciate all individuals and organizations who submitted these applications on your efforts and your commitment to your communities.
Secretary Moss.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Again, much appreciation for the staff's work on this round of funding, another year of robust applications. This is no different. And again, I think we've already heard how important these resources are for our communities to be able to meet their policy goals that this program demands. And I just wanted to highlight that this round was oversubscribed, more than $5 requested for every dollar of funding available. So the need is great. We all know that. We also know that as you all evaluate these programs, and I just want to appreciate the deep partnership with SGC staff, our staff at HCD and BCSH, CARB. I mean, I know how complex this process is and how important it is to all of you as you all review these projects every year. And, having this be the second highest NOFA that we have had, that is incredible. And these resources fluctuate. And so I think it is important as we look at projects that are amazing and haven't been funded, that we continue to think about how we maintain support of incredible projects, even when each funding round has limitations. So I just wanted to call that out. I also wanted to highlight not only the tribal project not being able to move forward, but also recognizing that our home ownership applications also have some unique challenges. It's been really great to talk to the staff about how we might look at that moving forward and really problem solve together over the barriers that our home ownership applicants are having. Within our agency, we are really dedicated to a full continuum of housing needs, from those of our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness to those who want to purchase their first home. And so really figuring out how our housing programs like ASIC can respond to those needs is important. And so just really looking forward to the staff helping us to explore ways to clarify how home ownership applications might be more successful. And then lastly, on the tribal project piece, I'm intrigued about whether or not there is a way to potentially establish different criteria. I mean, clearly there's something that's going on where our tribal partners are not being able to succeed in the final rounds. And so I'm noodling on that, really looking forward to diving deep into those details with staff, especially because, in my opinion, SGC has done some of the most profound tribal engagement of any state entity that we have. And so I want to make sure that we are seeing those partnerships, relationships manifest in programs and resources for our tribes. And so it is not from a lack of interest and desire, but I think there's some work to continue for us to be done. But congratulations, this is an incredible round. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Any other? Do we have? Oh, yes, please.
Hi, this is Abby Jackson from the California State Transportation Agency. I just want to thank staff and all the public commenters in the room for making time and thinking about this program. It seems like a very meaningful program, especially from the CalSTA perspective, with all the transit-oriented development and interconnectivity it supports. Really excited to see the bikeways and the zero-emission vehicle add-ons to the projects, and it's just great to be able to live in a place where you can easily get around. And going back to the health and all policies topic we had earlier today, this program is really representative of how we want to prioritize health in how we live. So thank you again for supporting this program and all the work you put into it. And also echoing other comments, noting the high demand for the program, challenging the staff and the state to continue reducing complexities to competing for the program, and continuing to put more resources into this really successful program. So thank you.
Thank you, Senior Housing Policy Coordinator. Really appreciate that very much, and welcome. Very nice to work with you, Abby.
And Vice Chair, Deputy Secretary Schwartz and Public Member Capretz also have their hands raised online.
Great. Who's up first?
I can go first. I just, wanted to thank you for all your hard work on this. I think, especially right now, when so many resources for disadvantaged and severely disadvantaged communities have been targeted, by the federal government, projects like these make such a huge difference. And this is just really a wonderful way to end the year. So, thanks for all your hard work on this. Really grateful.
Thank you. Nicole?
Great. Well, first of all, definitely have to give a round of applause to the staff, because I really appreciate the slides that illustrated the complexity of this program. And I guess my comment is almost kind of a radical response to that, which is it too complex? And not only for the team and the staff and the developers and the communities, and obviously the tribal community, but we have so many overlapping and intersecting layers that I question whether that's the best approach going forward. And I know that there's some internal conversations already thinking about that, and I know it's complicated, and this is nothing that's going to happen overnight. There's a lot of nuances, a lot of stakeholders to make happy and communities to make happy. But I would just say, my usual comment that Northern California continues to dominate. There's been some success in going to Central California, but 1 out of 4 projects from San Diego being approved, that's not acceptable. No projects in Orange County even submitted. I think the reality that Southern California, we just don't have public transit in the same way that Northern California has, makes it just immediately non-competitive. So great that, I was here and helped shepherd through that. We get one project no matter what through that geographic requirement. But like at some point I just ask for kind of refreshing the thought process and how we're distributing these funds, because everybody needs housing. Yes, we want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but I don't know to what end do we have to maximize the greenhouse gases we are reducing, because I know there's a lot of various programs under cap and trade, and they don't all maximize. They don't only choose the projects that are getting to the penultimate pollution reduction, but instead are providing really important benefits and life-changing opportunities and investments that all communities deserve in California. And again, Southern California is where the majority of the population is. I was going to suggest, why don't we throw on not just a geographic district, but where's the population at in California? And you'll notice, as I always say, it's from Wilshire Boulevard and below. So there's just so many families that I live near that are not being supported by this program, and it's nobody's fault. So there's obviously, again, no bad intentions. Everyone has incredible intentions, working so hard. I just feel like the program's kind of top heavy or just overloaded with requirements, and thus some communities continue to be left behind. And so, but I'm a public member, so I'm allowed to kind of just throw out kind of a radical thought. But again, just want to reemphasize how hard the staff worked, and kudos, forever kudos. I'm blown away by everything y'all do.
Any other discussion, colleagues on? Yes, Deputy Director.
Thanks so much. I feel like the theme of this meeting in general is that SGC doesn't do what's easy, SGC does what's right. And I feel like that's consistent for every update that we've heard. There's the easy approach, and then there's, what is the approach if we really are centering equity, if we're centering community, if we are showing people what's possible. I remember when I joined the state 8 years ago, even the concept of TA was really radical. Everyone was like, why are we doing that? We're already giving them grant money. Isn't that enough? And SGC was really the one that pushed and said, no, like if there are communities that aren't successfully accessing our grant programs, we need to step up and we need to do more, and we need to help them. And then a couple of years later, we introduced the concept of capacity building. And once again, everyone was like, what is capacity building? Aren't we doing enough? We're giving them TA. And there was another conversation. And then advanced pay. It was the same thing over and over, where I really feel like SGC was leading. And now it seems commonplace and it's just part of our vernacular. And we're like, of course, we need to make sure that there's equitable distribution and that we have to help applicants along the way. And I don't think that's been said yet today, so I really wanted to make sure before we closed out our council comments that was acknowledged. So thank you for the work that you all do consistently to push the heavy boulder uphill and get to the point where state government is doing things in a way that is innovative and progressive and equitable. So thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Director Kuffel. Any other comments? My Chancellor? Very good. It's been said. Justine, public comment.
Yes, we have 2 in-person comments, and my count is 4 remote comments. So we'll start with Marlene Salazar.
Good afternoon. My name is Marlene Salazar, Program Manager with Enterprise Community Partners, a national affordable housing nonprofit. Enterprise has been deeply involved with ASIC since the program's inception through our role as a technical assistant provider to ASIC applicants statewide. On behalf of the Enterprise ASIC team, I'd like to congratulate all the awarded applicants. We know firsthand what a huge effort it is to put together an ASIC application and what a massive impact these projects make in their communities. As everyone also knows, this year marked a major win for ASIC resources. In September, the legislator and governor reauthorized the Cap and Invest program, securing up to $800 million annually for the ASIC program through 2045. The ASIC program impact speaks for itself. More than $4 billion invested, 20,361 affordable homes created, and 5.7 million metric tons of GHG emissions avoided. And that doesn't even include the projects awarded today. Building on this success and the landmark of reauthorization of funding for ASIC, this is the right moment to reflect on the program's evolution and continue to make improvements. ASIC remains one of the state's most ambitious and successful climate and housing investment, but it has also become increasingly burdensome for applicants and public agencies alike, especially in lower resource places. Enterprise strongly believes the program can continue to deliver on its core goals and outcomes while reducing its complexity. We look forward to working closely with agency staff to further strengthen and streamline the program so it can make an even greater impact in more communities across the state. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Alexander Pratt.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come. My name is Alexander Pratt. I'm the Vice President of Development for AmCal Multi-Housing. This was not planned that I would come right after the last presenter, but we actually won an ASIC award for the City of Sacramento and working with City of Sacramento and the Sacramento Rapid Transit. But I want to thank Enterprise as well as a technical assistance provider. We're on our fourth application. Enterprise worked on two of them, the first one, which is the first round, and the one that we currently won. And it's so critical, the funds that you are providing in order to provide housing to the state. We are working on a site that has been vacant for 70 years. We are providing 348 affordable housing units, averaging at 50% AMI. And it's in a community that desperately needs that housing. I've personally worked on this project for 5 years, worked with the City of Sacramento, worked with the Housing Department, worked with SHRA. There's been so many efforts to pull this off. And ultimately, it's because of this funding that we were able to do it. And in addition to providing the housing, we're going to be providing improvements to the transit station that's directly adjacent to the housing and improvements in the overall area. So I just challenge you to continue to be innovative, continue to think about things you've been doing. I've been working in this business for 25 years, working with HCD, working with ASIC programs since the day it started. And innovation is the key, and I think listening is the key. We all want to create more housing in the state. I think programs like this are important, both some that meet multiple goals, be they climate goals and as well as housing goals. But our need for housing is so desperate. We have to spend a lot of time, I think, again, talking to stakeholders, developers like myself who spent a lot of time doing this work, people in the various cities, people in the Southern California and in Northern California. And we've done, I guess, 300 units in Southern California with ASIC, and then this will be another 348 units here in Northern California. So we work all over the state. So we just really appreciate the support and appreciate the support of the staff as well. So thank you very much and congratulations on such a great round.
Thank you. Next, we'll go online to hear from Nell Solander. And if you're calling in by phone, you can press *9 to unmute. Just double checking.
Hello?
We've got it unmuted from.
Oh,
yes.
hello.
Yes,
Sorry.
we can hear you.
My apologies. It was *6 for me. Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Council members. My name is Nell Sealander, and I serve as the Economic and Community Development Director for the City of South San Francisco. I've been working with Bridge Housing on their 1051 Mission Road project for nearly 8 years now. An ASIC award for this project is critical to bringing 6 acres of vacant land at the heart of South San Francisco into productive use as an 800-unit master planned community. The site is walkable to BART along an uninterrupted shared bike and pedestrian path. It's well served by Samtrans buses, and is also served by the city's free shuttle service. In fact, this ASIC award would allow us to convert our entire free shuttle service from gas to electric. The project is adjacent to the city's new library, parks and recreation center, and bridges several well-established single-family neighborhoods. Unlike all of the affordable housing developed in South San Francisco in the past 10 years, which has all been built in our downtown along the Caltrain corridor, this site is located at the intersection of these single-family neighborhoods and well-resourced by the Library and Parks and Recreation Center. In addition to providing much-needed affordable housing and transportation improvements, this master plan project will undertake tremendous infrastructure improvements, including covering a culvert to create a sidewalk for the first time along Mission Road along the project frontage, developing acres of public open space and parks, new bike, ped, and vehicle bridge over Colma Creek, which is a flood control channel, and much more. This is notable because the project received a $29 million state infill infrastructure grant award in 2023. It cannot access these funds. We, the city, cannot access these funds until the affordable component is fully financed. So I'm appealing to you today to take the action to award Bridge Housing's 1051 Mission Road project, because it wouldn't just unlock this affordable housing, but 640 additional units of housing, a 100-head child care center, neighborhood serving retail, and all of the infrastructure previously mentioned. As you can see by my participation in this meeting, the City of South San Francisco is an active partner in this project's development, having provided the land for it, committed scarce local housing funds to it, and working closely with Bridge to complete its financing. I respectfully request that the Strategic Growth Council use its discretion and approve ASIC funding for 1051 Mission Road under Round 9. While this is a notable ask, it is not unprecedented. Just last year, the council used its discretion to award additional projects not originally contemplated in the staff recommended award. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Christine Vitarelli. And if you're calling in by phone, it should be *9, but try *6 if that doesn't work.
Good evening. Arvin is a rural DAC farm worker community that has endured multiple environmental and socioeconomic challenges for decades. 3 years ago, the city of Arvin, in collaboration with the Kern Community College District, the Cesar Chavez Foundation, and the Dolores Huerta Foundation, joined forces to improve the quality of life for its residents. Over the last several years, the collaborative met with residents and community groups to establish its vision for a healthy community featuring improved public health, affordable housing with convenient access to services, clean transportation, and improved air quality. Additional goals included workforce development, higher education, expanded economic opportunity, and shared prosperity to uplift its community. Arvin's 4th and Walnut project is a culmination of focused work to support our stakeholders' vision and is a shining example of what is possible for rural disadvantaged communities when they form a powerful collaborative team and pursue their goals with tenacity. I want to thank the Cesar Chavez Foundation, the Kern Community College District, the Arvin City Council, and numerous resident stakeholders and community groups for believing in its vision and for their participation, hard work, grit, and determination in making this vision a reality. We are generally grateful to the Strategic Growth Council and the Department of Housing and Community Development for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Connor Clark.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Connor Clark. I'm a project manager with Bridge Housing, speaking here on behalf of my organization, Bridge. Bridge Housing submitted a Round 9 ASIC application for our 1051 Mission project in South San Francisco, as you recently heard from Nell. It's a 157-unit family affordable project within an 800-unit master plan development. The City of South San Francisco received a $29 million IIG award from HCD in 2023 to fund infrastructure for the master plan development. In one of the most competitive years for ASIC, our project was among the top scoring projects in the state. However, HCD applied 3 negative points to our score because of a short delay in the annual recertification of tenant incomes for a handful of units at a separate property in the Bridge portfolio. These units represent a very small fraction of the HCD funded units are in our entire portfolio. The negative 3 points placed our otherwise high scoring project on the non-awarded list and will prevent a highly anticipated and supported affordable housing and master plan development from moving forward. We appreciate HCD's efforts to streamline compliance and root out bad actors, but HCD's negative points policy is disproportionately punitive to large owner-operators like Bridge. It will be regrettable if the well-intentioned negative points policy continues to delay strong developers from delivering much-needed housing at scale because of a handful of delayed annual income certifications in its portfolio. HCD's negative points policy provides discretion to its staff when assessing these negative points. Despite our formal appeal and providing proof to HCD staff that the compliance issues cited were substantially cured, HCD refused to use its discretion and did not recommend 1051 Mission for an award. Bridge respectfully requests that the Strategic Growth Council use its discretion and approve Round 9 ASIC funds for our 1051 project. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear next from Ali Sapirman.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Ali Saperman with the Housing Action Coalition, speaking also on behalf of the Housing Leadership Council of San Mateo, Greenbelt Alliance, and the Bay Area Council, in strong support of Bridge Housing's 1051 Mission Road application. Although there are many excellent projects recommended for Round 1 awards, we believe one well-deserving project was left off. 1051 Mission Road. An ASIC award would unlock 158 deeply affordable homes and enable an 800-unit mixed income community in South San Francisco, along with major public benefits. New open space, a childcare center, a pedestrian bridge, connecting the Sunshine Gardens to the city's new civic campus, all located near BART. This is exactly the kind of climate-aligned, infrastructure-rich infill ASIC is designed to support. 3 negative points were assigned to this application, stemmed from a brief, fully resolved delay in tenant recertifications at one property. Bridge manages nearly 3,000 HCD funded units and has a strong compliance record. The penalty is disproportionate to the issue, and it places over 800 homes and critical public improvements at risk. To ensure this shovel-ready project advances, we urge the council to either increase the Round 9 fund allocations by $82 million, so both priority projects can be funded, or approve Bridge's appeal and remove the negative points. There is a precedent for adjusting award recommendations when a project's public value clearly warrants it. 1051 Mission Road meets that standard, and we respectfully ask for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll hear next from James Coleman, a City Council member. And you may need to press *9 or *6 to unmute. We will resolve that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Great. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon to the vice chairs and council members. My name is James Coleman. I'm currently serving as an elected city council member for the city of South San Francisco, and I'm here to urge you to award ASIC funding to Bridge Housing's 1051 Mission Road project, in addition to the recommended awards. This is a much needed and long awaited affordable housing project, and it is an anchor of an 800 unit master plan community that will bring acres of open space, 100 child childcare center, neighborhood serving retail, and a new bridge over Colma Creek, which is going to bring bike and pedestrian access from our Sunshine Gardens neighborhood to a new library, parks, and recreation center. And just to give you a little more of the surrounding neighborhood, it has direct access to BART. It has a new community health center going in right across the street. We just completed a new library. This is a really incredible transit-oriented development that will bring a lot of great quality of life improvements to the city of South San Francisco and the surrounding neighborhoods. The city of South San Francisco is a full partner. We have provided the land, committed scarce local housing funds, and have been working really closely with Bridge to complete this financing. In 2023, HCD awarded the city a $29 million infill infrastructure grant to build major infrastructure that serves both the affordable and market rate components, but we cannot access that $29 million until the affordable units are fully financed. And ASIC really is the key that will be able to unlock this and other state funding and the full 800 units that will follow. At round 9, the 1051 Mission Road was a top scoring project. However, HCD applied 3 negative points for a minor delay in annual income recertifications. Those few units are, a tiny share of Bridge's entire 3,000 unit portfolio, but those 3 points alone shifted this otherwise high scoring project into the non-award list. We appreciate the department's focus on compliance, but the current negative points disproportionately penalize these large, high-capacity nonprofit developers like Bridge, and is ultimately slowing down the delivery of this urgently needed housing. So I respectfully ask that the Strategic Growth Council uses discretion to approve ASIC funding for 1051 Mission Road under Round 9. This kind of discretionary action is not unprecedented, and the council has used similar discretion last year to fund additional projects. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Stephen Hernandez. And to unmute your phone, you may need to press *9 or try *6.
Okay, how about this? Does that work or no?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hey, good evening, committee and staff. Thank you so much for approving our Arvin development. I know it's especially for the little community of Arvin. The city just worked tirelessly with the stakeholders and the technical advisory to help this project come to fruition. It was really a true community effort to get this approved with the city, also with the school district, great partners from Dolores Huerta Foundation and other organizations that did support and come out to support us. One thing I noticed, which is a little discrepancy between the two programs on why disadvantaged communities are not maybe have increased their applications, is because HCD, the CIDLAC, and also the County of LA award projects who are in the highest high resources. And I remember when I got into this business, it was supposed to be to provide low-income housing to spur economic growth in these disadvantaged cities. But because of these rules from HCD, TCAC, and also the CIDLAC 4%, they're kind of disadvantaged communities don't have a say or cannot move forward with funding on their projects. So that's just something that maybe at the high technical executive director level, you could speak to, and how ASIC is kind of different from the other ones because other projects that are in high resources areas. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to note, Stephen had signed up for items not on the agenda. However, his comments did seem applicable here. So apologies for my mistake there. That does bring us to the end of public comment as I have it registered here.
We still. Thank you, Justine. Members, if there's no further discussion, we will entertain a motion and a second on what is poised to be the single largest cumulative award, ASAC award, in our history at over $835 million.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Massey, a roll call, please.
All right. Vice Chair Cardenas.
Yes.
Deputy Director Kuffel.
Yes.
Secretary Moss.
Aye.
Secretary Ross.
Yes.
Secretary Johnson.
Aye.
Chancellor Munoz. Deputy Secretary Eisent.
Yes.
Deputy Secretary Schwartz.
Yes.
Senior Housing Policy Coordinator Jackson.
Yes.
And Public Member Kupretz.
Yes.
All right. And with that, the motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations. In keeping with the season, happy holidays to us all. Finally, we have, I believe, just general overall public comment. The council will now take public, Lisette, thank you very much. We'll now take public comment for matters not on the agenda. Unfortunately, this is not a forum for dialogue with the council members. Questions posed by the public during this item cannot be substantively addressed or discussed at this meeting. Any required follow-up can be directed to SGC Executive Director Aaron Curtis for follow-up answers and connections to any relevant staff. Justine?
Yes. So at this time, I do not see any comments logged. I will just leave a last reminder that the public can contact the Strategic Growth Council via email at sgc.info@sgc.ca.gov. And with that, I'll pass it back to you.
That brings us finally to the adjournment of this meeting. As we can all see over the last couple of hours, it's been a very eventful and wonderful year. May this be an eventful and wonderful holiday season for all. Congratulations to all of our partners throughout the state who are benefiting from the genius of the cap and invest design here in the state of California, particularly the climate initiative intentionality of how we invest in communities. And congratulations to everybody. I say this as a public member appointed by the Assembly. Congratulations to everybody in the executive branch for pulling this off. It is amazing what we are accomplishing in this state. Happy holidays. I believe we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Quite a meeting.
it's fun.
Yeah.